complete everything from start to finish. Okay, so before we start, let us let me also remind everybody that later on we will be flashing your names, especially for those who have submitted their workshop outputs, and also the attendance for those who have been with us from start to finish. Now let us begin with a prayer, the singing of the national anthem and the USTP hymn.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang mag-ibig, dalas ng sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyak ka ng magiting, sa manluluping, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang may di magtitindig. Lumalang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, mo'y langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Hello, everyone. Again, welcome to our final day of the Faculty Onboarding and Career Upstart Seminar. So yesterday we had a discussion regarding assessments, as how the principles behind assessments. Why do we need to assess? How are we going to assess? And we also learned about how are we going to construct test items, and we will be talking about that further today. You know, and a bit later, we also have another speaker who will talk about performance innovative tasks and how are we going to grade our students. Okay, so this is going to be our day today. We just had our preliminaries, and then we will also be talking about TOS, constructing the term exam. So you've already submitted some of your outputs, so we are going to workshop that and give you feedback as to what you have submitted. Okay, we will also be talking about performance-based assessments and rubrics and designing the performance test and rubric, grading our students and computing their grades, the core syllabus outcomes, and the performance innovative task. Then we will have the virtual pictorial, lunch break, and of course you will have to submit your workshop number 4 because you already submitted workshops 1, 2, 3. Okay, just important reminders, again, for security purposes, please use your real names. I've noticed kaganina pagsulod na apay nagamit og mga initials lang, no? So may we encourage that you use your full name so that we can record your attendance, and then we can also address you properly in our certificates. Also, allow us to mute you during the meeting. This is to ensure no ambient noises will distract the speakers and you, the listeners. We encourage that you use your earphones so you can clearly hear the speakers' discussions and that you can ensure focus during the discussion. Again, if you have questions or any point of clarification, you may use the raise hand feature or you may also use the chat feature. Okay, we also encourage everyone to turn on their cameras. If your internet is very good, we encourage you to turn your cameras on so that we can also feel that you are here with us. You are really listening. Okay, and then should you be cut off from the meeting due to intermittent internet connection, do not worry. Just log back in. And if you, in case you have missed something, do not worry as well because we have recorded this session. Okay, so again, certificates will be given after the 5 day na gyud na to nga kung ano nga session. Okay? Because we will be also checking the attendance. Okay, so without further ado, kabalo ko kaila na mo sa iya. Okay, siya atong speaker kagahapon. Again, the director for the Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning, Dr. Amparo Vidua Dinagsao.
Mute. There. Hi. Hi, everyone. Same, I'm Miss Amphy. Pwede po bang makita kung naabay mga tao behind the camera? Can we all say hi? Good morning, Sir Brian from Angel, Funny, Randolph, Jedeline is waving, Early is waving, JC Cherry, salamat kay wala na ka nagproblema, Lorraine, Clark, Arlene, Lizelle. I'm seeing Gemaline, Sir Rico. Thank you for being active in our sessions. Sir John, salamat. Ready na po ba tayo for this morning? Sana po, nag-submit o workshop outputs. Kung wala naman po, we understand. So busy kayo no? And salamat gihapon na you guys are here even if we are very busy. Daghan kaayo ato ang mga tasks and teaching in the flexible learning is really very challenging. But ingon lagi nila no, laban lang. Laban lang. COVID rani taga USTP ta char. Ba murag usahay ingon lagi nila toxic positivity na pero sana po naagya po positivity. So good morning po. So binahitabuan niya kung bubo, no? So good morning. Sana po we're all ready and thank you for allowing us to share this with you, no? So asa na kaya atong uban nga kauban no? Natunga naman ta mga ingana kay tungod ba kay ano kaayo kanang si tawag ani kanang patrabaho magid kaayo di ay ni na webinar di ba na kog mag-chill lang okay lang naman po na later na ang mga workshops may ana no pero sana po i-try ninyo og ano po no og i-try ang ato ang mga ano and I hope for some of us this has been a learning as well, no? Or confirmation of what you are already applying and using and something like that. So there's a USTEP na webinar ongoing right now. We're also asking, we're saying naman to yesterday na for those who are joining here, there's going to be a December 2 December 2 na naka-schedule for you and we're thankful to the DTO for that one. So let's move on. For this morning po, we're going to review some of what we have discussed yesterday and then we're going to move to creating performance-based tests. I hope it's just a review, no? But you've been using performance innovative tasks, right? It's part of the grading, but paano po ito dinidesign? And so our main focus is really on creating rubrics for assessing students' performance and on on the rubrics, mga ganun. And on the rubrics, ano po mga template and all that. And I will have Sir Rogin, as what Sir Arvin have mentioned, to share how he did his performance innovative task in the new normal and in the old normal. Kasi po, this kind of setup, yung remote learning, we will only activate this if we are in a pandemic or we are in a disaster, na sana naman Lord, hindi mangyari, or kung may baha, which is, murag nahitabo naman yun sa atua. So, medyo maing-ani dayon ang setup na remote learning. So, and then po kahapon may nasubmit na mga mga course outcomes, and as we always say, nice magid kayo kung naagya po yung mga feedbacking na mangyayari. So kahapon po we were talking about assessment, no? So we're talking of what exactly is assessment, any process po na ginagawa niyo teachers, no, or peers, that will help you get an idea, get data of your students' learning, if they are understanding, if they are developing the abilities, no? And some of you says, how do we assess? You said before, during, after. And what do you assess? Learning progress. When do you assess? When do you assess? Before, during, after, and how you ask questions, you give activities, you do group tasks, because these are data if they are learning, if there's a glaring misconceptions on something, no? You're asking students to present. These are assessment methods as well, no? Quizzes, long tests, activity tasks, problem solving, role play, presentations of our students, creating a proposal. Aside from that, we also have the finals and the midterms, which are our summative tests. These are our assessment tools, and we have different methods of our assessment. So, ito yung mga pinag-usapan natin kahapon, no? But we always anchor it on our OBE framework. So this is our OBE framework in the university. So you have with you your course learning objectives, no? Katong ato ang naa sa ato ang classroom, and then of course that should align to your program outcomes and your program educational objectives. So I have a question po. Ano pong keyword natin sa program outcomes, PO, tsaka PEO? Ano pong difference ng PO tsaka PEO po? Pwede po bang ma-share sa chat? Kung mga keywords sa itong PO o PEO. Na po ba pwede mag-share upon grad, PO, Ma'am Ruthie, no? Angel, upon graduation. PEO, Ma'am Ruthie. There's ano pong na-remember na to? Unsa man mga outcomes no? Nalangan decoration, nagid ni sila. Angel. Others? Okay, Ma'am Gemaline, Arlene. Yung mga keywords na to, no? Mga ana. And of course, nakita man nato ang PO o PEO sa ato ang mga course syllabus, right? If you don't have the template for course syllabus, which I doubt you don't, kay naa naman yata, kay gasugod naman ang class. But if you don't have that template, you can request CiTL for that. Naalang yun sa inyong department share ang katong na ay marka sa ISO, no? And then, so Ma'am Dayan, okay. Okay, these are students' ability, no, Ma'am Myla? Mga ano. Okay, how about others? Ano pong naabot ay mga keyword, no? PEO, kabilo ka na, unsa man siya. So that po, we would know na ito po, di naman sila decoration, no? We are all part of the achievement of students' achievement of the outcomes. And sana po hindi nyo na-feel na, ay part-time raman ko or COS lang man ko or bag-o raman ko ng hire ako pakialaman na we are all part of this po. We consider every faculty as important, no? You are contributing to the development of our students' outcomes po, no? So, ano po ba yung PEO? Ito po yung mga statements, no? Statements of what the program participants will acquire in the future. But this one is 3 to 5 years after graduation. So yung iba po, if you notice in your program, na naka-state dito na PEO, and you will, ano po, no? You will assess the program, no? Led by the department chair, will try to assess whether nahitabo yun ni. Because kung wala ni nahitabo, there must be something that we will do with the curriculum. Ba? And then program outcomes, at the end of the program, ito talaga yung mga skills, attributes of the students, no? After finishing the program. And we also try to find ways also to assess whether our students are achieving these outcomes or demonstrating such abilities, no? That's why po, this particular session or webinar, is designed, no? It's designed for us to know lang kung ano yung ating assessment sa ating course. But we also have assessment sa program level, and we also have an assessment sa institutional level. So, kita po, di ba, sa ato ang classroom, ang assessment na to are exams, nga ganon. So, unsa po ang assessment pag program na? Unsa po ang ilang ginatry o measure? Of course, the program outcomes and the PEO. So, there are also tools that we use to determine whether our program outcomes are also being achieved, no? Okay? So, kung saan ganito itong course outcomes, ito po yung mga level natin, no? Course outcomes, skills and attributes of the students after finishing the course. So, I want to show, kahapon I was discussing, I wish you've seen the curriculum map. Ginatanaw na to ang map, no? In our department and in our program. But I wanted to also share na the POs, they go through a process, no? They have a process in terms of mapping, in terms of coming up with a program outcome. Ito po yung mga proseso na pinalo ng ating mga departamento to come up with a program outcomes. So, ano po mga program outcomes, hindi lang po nato na kinupya, no? Ang uban, they're dictated by CHED, ang uban shared by our industries, ang uban po based, aligned to the kind of graduates that we want to produce. So, we use the STEEP trends analysis, and we also use all these, no, to come up with the kind of, so that our curriculum is going to be relevant. And then we produce the program outcomes, no? These are the abilities of what the student should be able to have developed to demonstrate at the end or upon graduation. So, ano pong ginawa ng mga department? Tiningnan po, ano pong nangyayari sa society, sa technology, sa economy, sa environment, and political and legal. So, if they have shared with you 2017, 2016, we started on this one, no? Ano pong mga inputs in coming up for the POs? Ito po yung mga inputs, no? Mga basihan sa inyong mga departamento para ma-state po ang program outcomes. Sama sa CHED CMOs, ito po yung mga accreditation, no? Washington, Sydney, CDIO skill sets, because that's something we wanted to also develop in our students, the 21st century skills, ato ang mission and vision, ato ang the kind of graduates we wanted to develop, the industry 4.0, and then of course yung PQF na to, no, and the needed skills from industry experts. So when your department came up with a curriculum, POs una, no, unsa man yun ang need so that the curriculum is relevant to the society's needs. Pagkahuman po, ay po din nag-determine unsa na mga subjects, no, ang kailangan o unsa di ay if that subject must not be a redundant to other subjects as well. So it's very important that we also get to see that that's process so that we would understand and our role and how we contribute to this ano no to this attainment of the outcomes in our university. Again po, dili lang kana bitaw kanira man akong gitudluan or I'm just a gen ed um, faculty. Wala pong ganun. We all work together to achieve these outcomes, and everyone is important. So say for example, this is Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering na mga POs po. No? I get this from Sir Rogin, kay siya man ang department chair sa ano po, no? So, you notice po, upon graduation, A to N. Ito po yung mga ambition natin. No? Our students should be able to apply knowledge of mathematics. Our students should be able to design, implement, mga ganun, no? Program outcomes. Apply ethical principles. Mo lugar ni, no? Mo ni mga inputs gikan sa CHED, sa different accreditations, sa industry na pagstorya sa ato ang mga alumni, atuan is lang gipang istorya, unsa man gyud, unsay nahitabo, unsay kailangan i-improve, unsay kailangan sa industry and all that. So na forma po ang program outcomes. Dayon po ang mga program outcomes naa naman unsa po ang role sa imuhang subject. Di ba naingon ta kagahapon, i-map nato ang ato ang course outcomes or courses sa ato ang program outcomes. Asa po nabilong ang imuhang subject. So imong subject ba, no? Say for example, EE 102, introductory ba siya ani na kuan? So ako kay pakita ha kani. Mao ni siya ang curriculum map. So sana po na may nakita ninyo pud ni sa inyong ano no, sa inyong departamento. So I'm teaching PhD in Doctor of Technology Education, and gitagaan ko ani sa ako ang ano no, sa ako ang department chair. And nakita na ko kung unsa ang role sa ako ang research statistics or advanced research statistics sa unsa ang achievements. So say for example this one ha, this one, EE law, codes and professional ethics. Mura wala siya rule diri no sa mga A, B, C, D. Pero pag abot sa H, demonstrative siya, demonstrative. A course demonstrating an outcome. Mura gid siya og kani siya na subject. Makita gyud diha ang program outcomes. Letter D, dako siya role. Unsa ginitong H gani? Balik ko diri ha. Apply ethical principles and recognize professional, social, and ethical responsibility of the practice of electrical engineering profession. Kanina ambisyon nato, diri gid siya sa kanina subject, makita to siya na abilidad sa mga estudyante. Unsa man po ni mga E po? E is just enabling. A course that strengthens the outcome. And unsa man po ng I lang, meaning kana siya na abil, kani siya nga subject will just introduce the subject, no, an introductory course to an outcome. So nabi mga I. Usahay po, ginatanaw nato ni siya og balik, no, kay nganong kani siya nga subject, wala man siya D. So amo ni siyang gitanaw utro nga nganong puro raman siya I, siya pwede ra ba ni siya i-delete nga ana po, no? So ila po ni siyang gitanaw utro kay basig na ngalimtan and all of that. Okay? So ato ang emphasis kagahapon po is kung kani siya na subject is D gid siya ana, it should also be glaring in the course outcomes and in the activities that you do. Now you're trying to really ask the students to demonstrate that program outcome in your subject. So yun po, no? So mo nang giingon ni Dinhino, there should be at least one D for every PO. Then murag gi-review siya, murag ay sa kadus lang nalimtan, murag ing ana no ang uban. So, the curriculum map should be properly communicated with the faculty, especially for the new and part-time faculty. So we're asking po na if wala na share or nalimtan siya share sa inyo, you may also ask para po mag-align po ang ato ang mga paningkamot dito sa kind of program outcomes that we wanted our students to develop, no? And that's why we're also doing this webinar with you, no? Curriculum map of each program should be shared to Gen Ed and Allied Courses Department. There's no such thing as Gen Ed raman ko or dili man ko major. Yung Gen Ed po, eto no, purposive communication, yung mga art appreciation, these are Gen Ed, di ba po? They also have contributed, no? Naa sila yung mga I, some of the is na yung mga D or readings in Philippines. D gani siya sa unsa na even sa engineering. And these are Gen Ed. So Gen Ed are very important even to no to not very important. Let me just correct that line. Gen Ed and allied courses, they contribute to the kind of students we are trying to develop. No? Curriculum map is a guide for the faculty in crafting for the course outcomes. That's why we say, when you're coming up with your course outcomes, please consider the curriculum map. Okay? So course outcomes, again, refer to the knowledge, values, and skills all learners are expected to demonstrate at the end of the course. These are learning outcomes at the course level, no? 3 to 5 per course. Must be coherent set that captures the essential outcomes of the course. There has to be no redundancy and dili ga overlap, because course outcomes, we state there what students will demonstrate at the end of the course. Ito yung mga non-negotiable. If they do not demonstrate this, wala sila natunan, dili pwede pasar ani nga subject maging ana ba. Kay maoran kani nga mga skills, competencies, may ana no and outcomes. These are something that they should develop at the end of this subject, no? And the outcome should be assessed, no? Can be assessed as well. Level must be specified. That's why we said, can you please determine if this is analysis level? Because dapat course outcome should be at the higher order of thinking skills. And the course outcomes must contribute to the attainment of the program outcome. So your course outcomes in your subject should align to our program outcomes as well. So, unsa na ganito itong ILO? Specific lessons. So every topic, they become building blocks toward your course outcomes. If you have the course outcomes, so itong una no, pagkakita na to paghatag sa subject, tanaw na to ang program outcome, create din tag course outcomes, ay din ta identify sa unsa gyud ang mga topics. Ba? Kay baliktad man ta dapat. Unsa nga kung kani ang ako ang course outcomes, unsa na mga topics will help my students develop these. Unsa na mga topics, unsa na mga strategies, no? Backward design. We discussed this yesterday, Bloom's taxonomy, no? And then of course, I showed this yesterday, and sana po levels here ang ginawa po natin. So course outcome checklist. Check po ba nung kinreate nyo po ang course outcomes nyo? Students will do differently as a result of a course. Did it describe meaningful learning? Is it measurable? No? Does it represent high levels of thinking rather than trivial tasks? Is it written in plain language? So later po, I'll show and give feedback on some of the course outcomes. Ha? Some other notes, they should be manageable in number. Kasi po, di ba, maumani siya ang mga non-negotiable sa kanina subject. So dapat mga tulo lang, no? If the students will be able to demonstrate this, kahit ang uban wala na, okay na, maugid ni silang mga the relevant, the core of this subject, and they should not overlap, no? Some samples, ako nang ipakita gahapon naman, sample of the intended learning outcome. So you notice here, course outcome, design and analyze. Pero pag abot dire, discuss and explain, because this is per topic lang, no? Okay. Pwede na ko ipakita po, pero dili na ko nami gipang delete, no, na mga areas sa course outcomes para dili kay klaro unsa nga subject siya gikan. Okay? Ani po, no? Nay uban ing ani pagkasulat. Course outcome. Acquaint the students with the names and uses of the parts of the, or prepare prospective teachers to become, provide students with a strong foundation for understanding the relationship between and among. Bakit po dili ni siya course outcome? Kaya ang course outcome po, unsa ang buhaton sa mga estudyante, dili unsa ang buhaton sa teacher. No? Like acquaint the students, dili man ni siya unsa ang ability ni student. Unsa man ang buhaton ni teacher. So this one cannot be. Okay po? Next. Nga ni pagkasulat na course outcome. Understand the identifying characteristics of major classes. View the ocean as a dynamic environment. Interact effectively or develop appreciation and interest in. Para pong number one, para hindi man siya ma-assess. Appreciate use of various, di ba po? Discover and further develop resources and parang too general and they are not also measurable. How do you measure develop appreciation? Or at the end of the course po, eto lang ba mayari ng mga bata? Develop appreciation. If you want them to develop appreciation and interest in something, ano po ang ilang i-demonstrate na outcome? Ano po kailangan nila i-demonstrate? So, eto po yung ato ang question karon, no? Kani po, pagkasulat, ing ani, yes, Ma'am Josephine, it's very vague. Also cannot be measured. So, kani po, too many. Design, calculate, apply. Assess what kind of model. Ako lang nag-delete no. Assess what kind of model and hero was. There's a name there. And demonstrate his contribution to our country. Ba? Too many skills. Kani po, no? Saan niya siya ka copy-paste lang? Na siguro, no? So let's review po, no? And these are not an outcome. Sige, unsa man ni siya, anong dili ni siya outcome? Students will mount an art exhibit or install gallery work demonstrating appreciation. Or we will conduct a seminar that deals with, or we will create a prototype of, independently participate in activities outside of classes. These are not outcomes. Bakit po dili ni siya outcome? Dili po ni siya outcome. Ano unsam ni siya? Sige po, magtinabangak na din sa university ko. Unsa ni? Para po kita. Oh yes, JC, no? Mura siya activity ba? Mura siya task. Di ba po, ang outcome is what the students will demonstrate, no? Should they be able to, should they be able to create something, construct something that demonstrates unsa. Ba? An activity, sabi ni Jasmine, and develop. Ba? So meaning, an activity is not an outcome of the students. It will lead them to demonstrate something to you. Sama sa Mountain Art Exhibit, ano pong gusto ni mong ano pong nagpaing-ani ka? And why are students doing this? Maging ana ba? Ano pong magpaing-ani ka? So meaning, baka mauni mo activity for your students to what? To develop something? Maging ana ba? Ba? Angel, no? So, after you created your course outcomes, na klaro na, at least 3 to 5, at least 3, no? To a maximum of 5 ang COs, para manageable lang. Then you map your course outcomes, thinking that your course outcomes, no, considering that your subject is also mapped to your program outcome. So po, asa kani po nga subject, basin po og nakaigo siya ani na mga other program outcomes po, no? Kay ang tanon man din mo sa inyong department share, pwede na kay data ipakita nga nung kaning course outcomes kay nakaigo siya ning letter M. And basin kaning letter M is design something something, but your course outcome says the students will design and present, no, a design of, and of course that is D for the M, di ba po? So that's a good job kung daghang D, no, ngayon ana. So this is an example po, and if this is a subject na na siya gi-promise na E siya dapat dito sa letter B, dapat po napod gyapon ga E diri sa imuhang mga outcomes. Mas pero again we said sana no ang kada subject na siya gi-promise nga D, pero di na sa nato ipugos. So kani po siya no, kani nga subject dito po sa ato ang curriculum map E siya, pero sa ako ang inside my subject, yes, nakaigid bitaw ni kani man ang ipakita. Sa ako ang ipabuhat sa mga estudyante. So yun po ang datingan. No, we're seeing here electrical circuits 1. Tanawa po no, E enabling siya aning outcome A. Therefore, sa ako ang subject, nagid siya ano, igid siya ana na outcome nakamap. So di gid siya limtan. Although nalimtan siya diri no, ay naa di diri. I, K og L diri. Introductory siya ana. And kani siya nga outcome ang magpaklaro nga nakuha na ko na. So your level in your subject po, no? So I hope that is very clear in terms of the curriculum map. And so we always would say there are 3, our magic triangle, no? We begin with the outcomes, and then when our outcomes are very clear, we said we create our assessment. Muna nga uban, no? Create na your exam ahead, and then design your activities on sa imong mga topics and all, because that is what you would like your students to demonstrate to you, no? Manang dili siya okay na as we move murag walay target po, no? As mo na siyang gingon og dapat na ay target daan ay na to i-release ang arrow. It's not that you release the arrow and wherever it lands it's called the target. That's why mo na siyang gastalling ang uban no, ng chika sa uyab ug unsaon pag move on duha ka semana. Kaya wala may target, wala may kailangan ma-develop ni na skill mga ing-ana. Chika ra sa mga estudyante sa amo, wala may kabalo kung ano na. Tinuod ba na? Okay? Yesterday po, we had principles of effective assessment. We ensure that our assessment is matched with our learning outcomes, and sana po we measure deep understanding, performance, and content beyond only the knowledge level. And please use multiple measure, not only written, dili po okay na kuan lang po, no? Demo ra gyud tanan. Balance po, presentation, explanation, written, actual demo, mga gano'n, no? And of course, use appropriate methods and techniques. And it has to be practical as well, no? Balance that you have assessments and of course, katong practical po na dili lang po imuha ang subject. At the same time po, sana enough for you to be able to have an idea of how students are developing and naapapod kay lain po nga life. Because for our students also wish na they have professors who are happy with their life. No? It has an effect. And of course, it is valid and reliable. So, I have a question po. We're moving on to performance innovative tasks on how to design that and rubric. So, I have a question. Naay nag-apply sa imuha na driver. Duha ka buok, driver A, driver B. Ang driver A passed the written test but failed the actual driving test. Kira ba na siya nga driver? Are you going to hire driver A? And then driver B po, failed the written test but passed the actual test. Asan pong driver diri ang imuhang i-hire? I-hire po ni mo letter B. Oh. Okay lang po ba? Dili siya pasar sa written? BMW ra ba ang imuhang car? Dili ka mo hire, Sir Mark? Ano man? Murag medyo dili? Better if both maruti. Kinahan ko na maruti, uy. Anong mamili nga I can hire 2 drivers? Ganahan ko. Skills-based, ma'am. Then voice ko, dili man rin. Pwede, no? Skills-based. Actually, ma'am, wala di ay kay dapat both. So dapat, okay. I like that. No? Angel. Kano, wala kay hire, Sir Alvin? Ginoo ano mapugos mo hay mangita diglain ana lugar no walay mo qualify sabi Sir Bryant and Sir Rigidor no sir wala mo qualify sa ila walay mo qualify dapat pasar ang duha na si Sir Mark no none of the above Romayla it should be both duha atong i-hire or dapat ang skill na inyong ipangita is dapat pasar written pasar actual. Kinsa man mga driver diha gipasar man tano. Gipasar man tano both written or wala na to nag-actual kay pagpalisensya na to nagdala tag sakyanan. So na kay mag sulat-sulat ba di ay ang pag-drive. Ganahan si Sir Glenn. Sani, guy, Ginoo. Dapat both pasar. Gipasar biya ka sa LTO. Sir Clark? Multiple dapat both sabi ni Ma'am Dayan no kay dili ka makakuha og license kung bagsa ka correct pwede po Ma'am Josephine no okay istekto na daw ron oo naman lagi kapat na ay lisensya ang uban sir na dili ka basta ba tapos katubit ang nag-random ang ABS-CBN there is kagandi or og pakita og mga symbols kay lagi ka bilong uban so na ado day apoy mga kuano so anyway salamat sa inyong response medyo di ay lisod ni siya nga kuano so kung naagi nang apply driver's ticket ang uban kaniingog or wa ko i-hire ani nilang duha. Oh, Sir Alvin says, both dapat na ay skills yun. Okay. So, ang atong i-hire ani letter C na? Kung na ay better person, may ana, if they pass both the written and the actual. But I like the fact, no? So, we're gonna talk about, yes, Ma'am Marilyn, no? Letter C na good C. Kung na ay, kung na ay better na kung na ay naasa doon. Pero, delikado man yata, no? Kung mapugos lang ta between A and B. Dapat mangita kita ika-letter C. Pangitaon dito na to kay mahal itong sakyan. Kung saan man nakabalo mo drive no, niya, kung sige niya, symbols, di ba na-added to, unsay mga, ang bagsakan na to sa driving is katong, unsay buhaton kung glaring kay mong natagbuan, road signs, traffic signs, mao man to no? Tapos unsay meaning anang mga yellow, 'di ba? Mga puti, mga katong mga broken lines. Kung wala ta kabaluad to, mo nangingon lagi daw kung balo lang magpadagan, dili na siya pasar dito no kung balo lang ka mo padagan. Kailangan makakabalo mo park, kabalo ka mo parallel, kabalo ka mo diagonal. Mga inana, no? Especially itong mga nag-drive diha, you know what we're talking about. Pero ang uban, mag-hire o driver. What we're trying to point out here is that there's no such thing as mas maayo ang written or mas maayo ang actual. It has to be balanced assessment. It has to be balanced assessment. Kailangan po, kabalong mga estudyante of the theory behind, of the principle behind, and they can also demonstrate that actual to you so that you would know that they have developed the skill. So both po dapat. And so let's talk about authentic performance task. No? What is a task? It's a piece of classroom work and it engages learners in comprehension, manipulation, production, and interaction, and it focuses on meaning. I like this picture of my students in math set theory. No, these are my math major students, and in my class, it's really more of, even if it's math, no, it's really more of they are discussing. They're discussing. I give them a jigsaw. There's a jigsaw puzzle as a teaching strategy. No, I give them a concept and isa kada ano na siya ano no grupo, concept 1, grupo number 2, concept 2, and then pag bungkag ani mahimo na din silang isa ka grupo nga naa dito ang gikan sa concept 1, concept 2, concept 3, concept 4, and sila din ang resource speaker adto na grupo. May ana no. So morning usahay ano na lang din ko no, inig mag assess ko gamay tanaw din ako asa dapit ang misconception. And kabalo mo mas naka-learn ng mga estudyante. So naagiragya po times na ano no, pwede di ay ato ang mga estudyante sila ato ang ipa-discuss on something, and it's more relevant for them, and they remember when we are the ones doing the task, we remember them more, no? So that's a mini task, but it's not called a performance innovative task as we define in our university. So at the end of this segment po, ito po yung i-request po namin na workshop 4 po, ha? Ito po siya. So I will discuss on how we design a performance innovative task and what are we going to, what are we going to have? We're going to come up with a course outcome, okay? And then, pwede po i-review ang course outcome. What are the directions you're going to give to your students so that they will demonstrate that course outcome to you? And what are the rubrics that you're going to use to rate the performance innovative outcomes? So again, email to CiTL@ustp.edu.ph and then CC your department chair and email subject focus workshop 4. We are thankful that you sent your workshops 1, 2, and the 3, no? Salamat po sa uban na medyo 12 naman po na pa mangyapon mi naka-receive na mga kuan. Bongga. Salamat po for trying your very best. We really appreciate that, no? We need more of faculty na maskin daghang challenges ani kamot gyapon ba? Complain gamay, trabaho po, lagi nga na po. It's fine. So, let's talk about authentic or what exactly is a performance task. Muna akong ingon sa inyo na ako mga estudyante ga-discuss la. Ako lang ako ning gitambunan kay para di maka-distract. So they're discussing and kani so a performance task is an individual or a group work. No, pwedeng that's and it has to deal with problem solving. So performance task, there has to be a problem they are going to solve. Okay? And several researches is telling us performance task is really good for retention and transfer. No? So how do we create performance tasks? First, we match the assessment with course outcomes. No? Ano ba talaga yung course outcomes? Students should be able to design. Students should be able to construct. Students should be able to create a proposal. Then dapat mo match sa ato ang performance assessment, no? Student will be able to kanang apply something tapos imong performance assessment is they're going to create a proposal. Pwede gyapon ingana, no? So say for example, just like yesterday, How will we measure performance here? No, if the course outcome is like this: apply standard safety procedures for handling foodstuffs. No, kaning gikan ni sa shed. So, pwede pong atong una na itong gitana, I want that my students are able to handle and store foodstuffs in a manner that avoids damage and contamination, meets hygiene standards, and maintains quality. Mo niya akong gipangita gyud. So, unsa man ang ako ang performance assessment? Pwedeng, using the workplace skills appraisal checklist, students will request a third party to complete the document. Pwedeng ganun ang task. No? So, naman ni siya katong ko ano, ang estudyante ba, naka-label siya, ang estudyante, naka-ano ba? So, pwedeng sa iyahang, ano no, sa iyahang internship supervisor, iyahang direct supervisor, para makita na ang estudyante naka-apply sa standard safety procedure for handling foodstuff. Kasi ang gusto nato is ano ni siya no, ma-demonstrate sa estudyante. So, saan nato siya measure? So, na ay mga certain tools, no? Kani po, mga atong mga igsuon diha sa education. If the program is BS Secondary Education and the subject is Technology for Teaching and Learning 2, and the course outcome is produce learning resources using technology tools in various areas. Unsa man ang sample assessment? So students will create instructional materials using technology tools. So you notice ang assessment is really ipaproduce gid sila, come up, create, discuss this, then nakita na din nato na nakaproduce ng learning material in various areas. No? Because these are the non-negotiable outcomes for this subject. So bahalag dili siya ka-define on sa technology, pero nakaing-ani siya. Then, nakuha niya ang kaning unsa gyud ang dapat matunan ani na subject. Kani po, ano na kada hapon, if the subject is operations management, and the course outcome is dapat ma-apply ang management theory. Unsa man ang ato ang task? So students will propose social responsibility strategies and compliance action plan for a business. So pwede pong ing-ani, no? If you notice, kani ang task, pero kani na skill ang isulod nila or ilang ipakita ani na task. Iko ba? Okay, so after we match the PIT and the COs, next that we're going to do in our performance assessment is then let's create the engaging scenario. Dapat po na ay problem, dapat po na ay konteksto, dapat po na ay hypothetical problem where the students will see themselves so they can use that skill. Ug dapat po sana no sa una kanang kung nagtuon ta atong mga calculus, mga differential equation, kanang makita bitaw sa mga estudyante na gini siya gamit sa gawas. Ini gawas bagid na ako, na bagid dito integral of mga ingana. So para po relevant para sa ilahang kana siya nga learning, no? Integration of something. Then unsaon to nila apply? Then there has to be a real life problem where they will be able to use those skills, no? So yun po ang gusto nato may tabo aning performance assessment. So when we write an engaging scenario, we set a relevant real world context for learning unwrapped standards, no? And so ang tawag nato ani is let's use the GRASP method or the SCRAP method. Kani scrap man siya, no? Set a relevant. And then there has to be a challenge to meet. There has to be a role students will assume. So dapat po sa kato na scenario, dili kay estudyante siya. Kato na scenario unsa siya? Boss. Kato na scenario unsa siya? Architect. Kato na scenario unsa siya? The electrical engineer chief. Ano? Kato nga scenario, ano siya, supervisor or principal. And then, dapat na ay audience. Kato na scenario nga itong gihatag. Kaya dapat man kung maghatag ng performance assessment para mo gawas to nga skill, dapat na ay problem. no? So, identify the audience. Kinsa man yung audience, client, kinsa ang audience niya, pwede mga estudyante, mga bata sa barangay, kinsa audience niya, the LGU, pwede pong the lawmakers, no? And then of course, specify the product and the performance, no? So, pwede pong gamiton ang GRASS method when you are creating your performance assessments na task. So, ang uban may ha, mura man elementary, uy, mura man ka nang naa sa ano no, nasa high school. At there's no such thing po na kanang pang high school kung ingani ta mag-assess. Assessment principles and assessment processes cut across when we are in a learning academe, no? In an academe. Again, we wanted to determine if students are learning. Yung ganun po, no? So, pwede pong GRASS pagkagamit. And I'll show you, the universities abroad are using this. University po, college. Yung ganun. So, ginagamit din ito, no? So, when you're preparing that scenario, pwede pong eto ang guide. There has to be a goal, there has to be a role, audience, situation, product, performance, and purpose, and the standard for success. Pwede pong gamito ni ingani na your task is, the goal is, the problem or challenge is, ano? So, pwede role. You are the architect, you are the chief engineer. So let them situate themselves unsa ilang role dito. You are the mayor or you are the environment advocate. Ana lugar, no? Kinsa man din audience sa kato na problema na ilang isolve. You need to convince the congressman. Unsa din ang situation nga naa sila. Unsa man din ilang ihatag sa imo, you will need to create a what? You will need to create a proposal. You need to create a report. You need to create a no? Put them in a context po. And then unsaon pag-judge ilahang output. Okay? So let's look at this sample task. Look at this sample task. Everyone po, let's read this sample task, no? You are the assistant to Pat Williams. Kinsa po say, so murag atong we're telling the student na your role this time ha, an assistant. You are the assistant. Diba? That's the role. The president of so assistant to the ano. And then you notice that of course the situation is that the company makes a precision electronic instrument. So that's the situation. And then there's Sally Evans, a member of Dynat sales force, recommended that Dynatech buy a small private plane so that they can visit the customer. So that's the context. And then Pat was about to approve. Kinsa gani si Pat? Si President. But ikaw be assistant, diba? Pat was about to approve the purchase when there was an accident involving a Swift Air 231. You are provided with the following documentation. So mura gid siya case study, no? And then no? So that's the situation that your student is in, pero you're giving them a hypothetical scenario. No? So dili sila, you are the student, no? Let them see themselves in the future. Kung sila ni unsa man dayon, 'di ba? That's the situation now. There was an accident. Then they're about to ila biyan ta ning magpalit biyan ta sila eroplano, 'di ba? So these are the sample documents na ukayon sa mga estudyante. Newspaper, report, email, charts, amateur pilot article comparing this and other planes, pictures and description. No, this is then the buong context. No, and then please prepare a memo. That, no? So you're telling the student, no, they are the assistant, and what are they going to do? They're going to prepare a memo. that addresses several questions, including what data support or refute the claim that the type of wing on the Swiftware 2 leads to more in-flight breakups, what other factors might have contributed to the accident, and should be taken into account, and your overall recommendation about whether or not Dynatech should purchase the plane. So, ikaw nag-prepare. Pero unsa may panulagdan ha? Naagi diri no? That addresses several questions. So you're telling the student what is the product. Ano pong ilang isabit sa tua? Memo. Unsay sulod sa memo, unsang standard. Addresses several questions. It should include what data or refute the claim, no? Other factors that have contributed to the accident, and your recommendation, because you are the consultant or you are the assistant, and other recommendations. Ba? So these are what we mean by klaro sa may estudyante na ay sitwasyon, kabalo sila unsa ihatag sa imo. It's a memo, but unsa ang standard or criteria nga gipangita nimo inside that product, the standards and the criteria. And of course, the overall goal is that they should be able to come up with an overall recommendation. Okay? So mo ingon nato na when you are coming up, pwede po kani ang model, but you can dayon create your own. Pwede po ang kanilang sa ang start, no? Mga ingana. There's also a model we call scrap. Sige po. Pwede po bang maghangyo sa tanan? Pakitanaw po kani. Una na ko na question po, unsa kani nga subject? Ano kayang subject ito po? Sa college. Murag history, murag humanities. Yes, ma'am. Gidiscuss mo ni sa humanities, gina-discuss mo ni siya sa even sa makatong mga American history, and American mga mga world history, world lit, mga Soksay siya, yes sir, JC. Soksay, yes sir. Oo. Soksay ni siya nga subject. Pero, in the past, I don't know kung sa una, ingali ba yung feel, no? Pero sa una, di ba, kita sa una kay, what is the form of government in America? And what is Chinese communism? And what is communism? Gidefine lang din na to. Wala na din takabalo kung kanang learning that history o learning ilahang forms of government dito, ato ba na siyang magamit? Ato ang mga karon? Ato ba na siyang magamit? So we have to help our students na what they're learning right now will help them in the future. Kung unsa ni siya na mga they're part of data. And if you notice here, no, it's scrap map model, situation, challenge, role, audience, product, so that they would be able to appreciate nga kanilang ato ang ipang-discuss sa class na ada ini siya punto sa real life. So the situation is during dinner last night, your mom announced her company is expanding and has offered her a significant salary increase to move and work in the offices located in China. No, knowing how much you have studied social studies, your mom asks you to investigate the benefits and drawbacks of the two governments. Benefits, and she would like you to determine whether the family should relocate to. So, morning dilemma. So that's the challenge. And what is the product? The product is coming up with a formal letter stating your point of view, supported with a counter argument. Who is the audience? The boss. What's the level of product? What's the level of what's the standard? Write a formal paper stating your point of view, supported with a counter-argument, reasoning, evidence, and citation. Klaro kay sa mga estudyante, unsa nga klase ilang ipasubmit. But situate. But before ko makadiscuss ana, syempre, naman tayo nag-lesson man ta ato American democracy, American history, no, and world history, and Chinese communism, and forms of government. But instead of asking our students to enumerate what are those, put them in a situation where magamit to nila and they think critically. Oh, so what is the role of the student here? They will write the letter, no? That's the role, no? So mura siya og writer sa iyang mama diri para so this is a situation na mugawas gyapon ang ato ang ilahang mga outcomes, no? Makita nato og glaring kayo kung kabalo ba or dili na magamit. So what are some of the roles na pwede niyo i-consider for your students? Pwede, you are the applicant, you are the cartoonist, you are the parent, you are the investigator, you are the inventor, pwede ganun, no? You are the consumer, pwede ganun. And what are some of the products that we can ask our students? You can ask them to come up with an advertising campaign, a journal, a graph, a food critique, a eulogy, panalita, no? Kung mamatay si, nag-study lugar mo o something about a person, about a hero. Nice ka po na kung naa siya dali namatay karon, unsay imong speech para sa iya ha? Syempre, eulogy is a contribution. No? Mga ganun. So, lab reports, models. So, ito po yung mga sample products and performance examples. You can ask your students to produce. No? So again, we match the PIT and the COs, and then we write an engaging scenario, and then we design tasks. So the task should be described in detail, explicit, step-by-step directions, relate in a cohesive manner, progress to a higher level. No? So some examples that you can ask your students, you can ask them to draw, to describe, to compare, to predict, mga ganun, no? You can ask them to apply, to generate, to critique, ask them to construct, to evaluate, mga ana-ana. So mga yun ang mga tinawag nato na tasks for a performance assessment. So how do we create then the scoring guide? Dili pa pwede na karon, no? Dili na pwede katong pila may grado ani ma'am. Ani lugar lang gi-submit? 82. Or let's say for example 1.9 2.25. So how was this rated? Why is it not 2 and why is it not 2.5? 2. Yeah, maging ana. So dapat po klaro sa mga estudyante so that sila mismo before nila isabit sa mo pwedeng mabana-bana na nila, no? And that's why later I'll show you na may mga kaso ana, no? So what is a rubric? Scoring scale used to assess student performance along a task-specific set of criteria. This is sample of my students using a podcast. No? Now they gitawag og math podcast, and these are something they upload on YouTube. Okay, and when I ask them to submit their podcast using USTP, pero lain may itsura karon sa USTP, no? Sa una, ang tawag naman ng USTP is Virtual Learning Environment, VLE of our university. So napulo ra ang submit, napulo ang kagrupo lang, no? So and I only have 39 students. So this was last year. And then okay? So assessment tool, so na ako'y gibutang dito unsang sitwasyon, unsang kuan, and then why are they pero kay future teachers how if they are the teacher, unsa din naman yan. Assessment tool that clearly so rubrics are assessment tool that clearly indicates achievement criteria across all the components of any kind of student work, from written or to oral to visual. No, this is used for marking assignments, class participation, or overall grades. But there are two types of rubrics, no, holistic and analytic. So this is an example of a holistic rubric. Look at this. Usually kasi, ang speech, di ba ta makaanog speech, no? Separate ang grammar, separate ang style. Usually, ang speech is you rate that as a whole. So here, your rubric score 6 designates a clearly excellent speech. Tapos ito yung mga criteria. Score 5, designate a still impressive speech. So that's an example of a holistic. So basically, holistic does not list several levels of performance for each criteria. No? Focus of a score is on overall quality. It can result in somewhat quicker scoring process, and it's used when purpose of performance assessment is summative in nature. So ito yung holistic. This is an example also of a holistic. No? 4, 3, 8, natay gitawag po na analytic rubric. It is preferred when a fairly focused type of response is required. No, naatay mga criteria, articulate level of performance. This is an example of a analytic rubric. So sunod ng mga tanang may estudyante, kaya itong mga estudyante karon gapangutana na no, kanang kung maingon mo, create a project, create a prototype of or design na ang uban na sir, pwede po mag-ask na ako'y rubric, pwede po niyo ito bagot, yes of course, analytic or holistic you want. Pero kani po ang example sa analytic rubric, no? So kani siya po. Pero kani siya, if you notice na siya certain criteria, klaro yung criteria, no? So it's looking at specific criteria in the product. So as an example in an essay, no, pwede ka punta mag-rubric, pero ing ani ang style. Ang essay ing ani. But you notice kaning essay, wala lang siya nag-ingon of explain, then period. Ningon gid siya, was this storm a hurricane? Na ay konteksto. Tapos gignan niya ang estudyante, was this storm a hurricane? Explain your conclusion. Pero pag wala siya ningon, explain your conclusion, period. Napagid siya gi-require, unsa nga conclusion? Briefly describing how each piece of information presented above was used in drawing your conclusion. So then, the faculty, please create your own answer to your essay. No? That's how we do it in assessment. And then we try to kung asa dapit, no? So gipangita nimo, classify storm as not a hurricane. Kung masturya nila na this one is a storm, it's not a hurricane, 1 point. Tapos, kailangan, nakaingon siya, well, there's an absence of closed circulation and calm center, 2 points. Para po, di ta ma-check kung, usahay manggod ang problema sa essay, kung ma-check ka ang mga estudyante, and then, murag mawala na dayon takay. Lami, hindi kayo uban mo check, no? Medyo mislead, but if we look at this kind of rubric, medyo mag-guide yun ta, no? May ana. And we are really requesting you na you have something like this and you discuss this with your students when you're checking. We have, as former student affairs director po, dagan kay may og mga kaso sa nakapil ang mga estudyante that there was less objectivity when their exams and their tasks were rated. So, klaro gyapon na usahay mag-una ang kung exam pwede gyapon i-discuss nga you will get 3 points if it's like this, no? This is also what I do in my class. You get 2 points para dili bitaw maglibak-libak og si ma'am ba kay grammar ay gipangita. Kung may ka mag-grammar, maglibot-libot, magtagas-tagas, okay na. And we have had in my other university, previous university, ang mga estudyante kabalo sila, no? Ingon ang mga estudyante, 10 points, lagi dayon ba, basta ka ng likod-likod ang imuhang essay. So ilang gibuhat, ilang gi-experimenta, no? Sulat sila, nagtarong sila sa first paragraph, ang ikaduhan nila nga paragraph is, national anthem, ang likod dayon kay Our Father, may ila ra din gikopya ang permero nga sa diri ang teacher ka 10 points. And of course, natangtang siya, no, kay nabalaan man po dahil kayo course, kabalo na ka nga machika din sa mga estudyante kung we were fair and objective in the rating of their no? And we also had several mga complaints na ingani. Okay po? So better po na kanang may ingani niya ron dili ilang kagwapa atong gitan-aw or ilahabak ang attendance attendance is not part of the grade. Kaya mga na ba sila na um, ito nga makumam ano, so but look at your answers. This is how we rate your answers, no? This is how we rate the exam and all that. So this is a sample of a rubric I used for collaboration, no? So in my class, maggrupo sila, then they come up with even karon na remote learning. This is something I use in my class as well. So gina-rate sila sa ilang leader and all that. So karon lang is Google form na. Okay? So for collaboration. These are the rubrics shared, or this is the rubrics shared here from the different HEIs abroad. So what I'm trying to point out here is that ang rubric, di lang po siya ginagamit sa mga elementary o mga high school. No? Of course, madunggan na to sa mga high school, maging ang pinaka-ano. But the college professors are using this all over the globe. Okay po? So again, ang pangutana na to is how do we create the scoring rubric? How ang pangutana? So sa dapat create ang rubric, no? Sige, let's create po. First, let us write the criteria. Bakit po? Kasi po, criteria specifies the characteristics, ano pong hahanapin, and all that, no? It will also send us a message to your students na eto pala ang major na hinahanap mo. Dili di itong color, dili din itong na butterfly lang sa kilid, dako na dayon kaayo grado, or cleanliness lang, neatness lang ang imong gipangita, or sada lang humot ang papel. Ana, no? Klaro sa mga estudyante unsa imong gipangita. We write the criteria of a good performance in a task. And of course, we write weight. Bakit po? Sa introduction naman, tsaka si, let's say for example, color scheme, pili nga siguro na sila pareho og weight, di ba po? Even delivery, di man siya pareho og weight sa content mismo. So it's telling our students, you know, this is how I determine your score. And ito yung pinaka-core, no? So ito yung mga, and then we write the levels of performance because they indicate appropriate rating or standard for each criterion. But the question is, unsa kataas? 1, 2, 3, 4? Pwede ba 10? Dada na po tama problema kay nalang din gitawag og inter-rater reliability, no? Kailangan kasi po ani po hangano ganing rubric ka para po we will be objective para po ang kani siya na product sa itong mga estudyante, ma-prototype man, ma-design man, ma-computer ano man generated something or ano man o programming man, whether diri siya nga maestra didto siya sa buutan nga maestra, it's the same task, it's the same output. Dapat po pareho ang atoang pag-rate, no? So their rubrics will help us have that inter-rater reliability, no? And kung taas ra kaayo, di na din ta magpare-pareho kay daghan ra man kay ang levels. Kung mubo ra pud kay isang tanan, let's say for example, exemplary og unsatisfactory ra ang column. Of course, there are products that are in between this and we have to capture that. So, is there such thing as dapat upat or lima? Wala kay mabasa ana nga ingana. Kita pa rin gyapon ang ga-determine. But those are the reasons nga nung dili need na pulo ka columns or dili pud necessary duha ra ka column, no? So, and then of course after we write the levels, we write these. These are what we call descriptors. So kanino, for the introduction, you give 4 times 1 for the students who has catchy and clever introduction, provides relevant information, establishes a clear purpose, engaging the listener immediately, something like that, no? So, and then of course, we write the score kung asa. So, I have a question sa inyo ha. Pila man ang total score, ani ka ha? Pila ang total possible score? This is 9 times 2, no? So, if you notice, 9 times 2, kung kuan, kung diri siya nag-check imong estudyante, this is 18. 9 times 2 again for this one, it's also 18. That's already 36. 9 times 1, it's another 9. So actually, there are just 36. Ay, duha man ni. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4, 5, 6. 9 times 6. 54, no? 54 points. Kaya duha din na kuan. So this is 54 points in all. And usually po, mag-check ta diri, no? Atong mga estudyante, pwede na nice kayo kay inig. Hatag na to sa mga estudyante. No, inig hatag na to sa mga estudyante ana atong ibutang. Kani mo diri dayon ka imuhang danhi nga pit ana, then imuha din diri dapit imong delivery kay mga diri. So then, kung ano din nino, 9 times 1, 9. 9 times 6 times 2, 12. 9 times 2, 18. Ano? 6 times 1, 6. Mo na din ilahang score. And yes, ako na din ibutangan diri ngalan. And even even akong PhD, if they present, diretso ang rubric. No, dili man nato na itago ilahang mga score. Ba? So anyway, even them, they can rate themselves. Okay? And also rate themselves. No? Wala sa reason. Okay? So there's also a research that says important daw kuno sa assessment na ang mga bata tagaan og opportunity to self-assess. So usually in my class as well, I put a column here before ko mag-score of self-assessment. No, naa siya column diri sa ubos na siya lang say maggrado sa iyang kaugalingon. Tanawon nako kung and then I would say kung dili ko agree bitaw sa iyang content exemplary niyan ko what made you say that your output here is of exemplary in terms of content. Justify po sila na may anak ay pwede po nga ako wala kakita. So it's really helping our students po come up with a very a good output, no? So a self-rating, no, self-assessment is a very good part of your assessment practices. Ano po you'd consider? Because they can reflect and evaluate their own performance. They can identify how they can improve their performance and see their own progress. And very important po, walay complaints. Kaya sila mismo man iparate. But you have to also inform them ahead of the rubric. Dili lang magulatan, no? So when you're creating a rubric, it has to be purposeful and goal of the task you'll evaluate, no? It has to be very clear ang purpose of the goal and the purpose. And determine the type of rubric. Masyado bang holistic or masyado bang analytic? One, depende sa students. Number two, depende po kung unsa itong i-evaluate. No? Establish your criteria then, performance levels, and edit, test, and revise. Okay? So, naay mga example. So, natin mga gikan ani na, ano no, kanang, sige, you can visit this. Okay, I'll put it here. You can visit that site. So some of us may visit that site later kung medyo hinay ang signal. But I'll show you that it's a very good site to create our rubrics. So say for example, this part. Let's just say for example, writing. I'll click writing. And then in the writing, asa man dapit ang building a structure, papaha, o i-click. And then when I click that, ang naka-nice kay, nag-suggest na din siya unsa na mga criteria. Look at the criteria. Building a structure, no? Information gathering. Tapos mag-suggest na din siya mga unsay mga descriptors for certain level. Kay kani pwede man nato ni exemplary ni siya. Tapos kanino unsa may another, the plan. And then I'll go the data collection. And then ako na lang din siyang pang-ada, no? Ako na lang din siyang ipang-edit kung unsa ako ang gusto na kuan. And then if you ano that, then usually what I do, I just copy that. No? I just copy this and put it in Microsoft Word. Ba? So you can also consider that. Okay. So again, what is nice about the Ruby Star is that nana siya mga i-suggest na mga ano no. So mas nice nung mag-edit na lang no kaysa kita pag mag determine it from scratch. Okay? Another one is what you call the R campus. Usually pag mag-Google mo tapos mo mangita lang mo og rubrics, dili ni siya automatic mo ano no mo gawa. So let's go to R campus. Ano na ko there. Okay, let's go to this one. To this okay, I'll put it in ano ha in okay, let's visit the R campus. The R campus a lot no a lot of ano examples. So there. Okay? So let's visit the R campus. What I love about our campus is grabe kadaghan ang available rubrics. No? You can sign in or log in, create your own account. But let's look at this. Let's look at this. No? Ing ana siya kadaghan. And what is nice? So, ito sa gallery. Ano, this is the gallery. This is the rubric home. Hindi na rin siya. No? There. Okay. Para dali na lang din ipangita, no? Mga ingana. So, coursework ba ang atong gusto na mga kuan, ng mga ano? Mga na rin siya. Tunihagi no, during the face-to-face, I asked, I gave them my login name. I think pwede pagyapon karon Amphimath Calculus ang password. But I will show you, no, na kung sa kanais ang our campus because no tanawa gani ni siya rubrics by grade level until graduate school o postgraduate na sila rubrics no so kita na diri nga our campus na 84,000 rubrics so imposible na gyoy rubrics diri nga wala nimo nga kay gusto na wala diri no grabe kadaghan. And look at this, rubrics by subject. So for humanities, there are 23,000. For computers, no? For engineering, for geology, for math, for physical science, for political science, for education, biology, art and design. There are so many rubrics in our campus. What is nice is napag-rubric na pang-assignment, pang-attendance, pang-portfolio, pang-quiz, pang-presentation. Mga ano, no? Na mga rubrics. So, mutong ingon ako sa inyo, no? Ang nakanay, akong ganahan, ani na, ano is, na ay undergraduate o na ay graduate. And usahay, when I search for a particular rubric, mugawa siya, napagid siya, unsa imong gusto, ani na rubric, katong pang grade school, pang high school, pang undergraduate o pang graduate school. So this can help us, no? And same, i-edit na lang dayon ninyo. Okay? So explore that. So when grading with the rubrics, create your own comment bank, no? And then explain your grading process way before the start of the task. So katong uban ng mga faculty na at the start of salamat, you're welcome, Ma'am Angel. Katong mga faculty na kanang gahatag is like rubric at the start of the class, no? Let me share with you, no? Medyo ang libak sa ako medyo may pagka-stricta pero wala gyud naglibak sa ako ever na dili ko tarong mo grado, no? Or that na mataka ko tag pangbagsak or kalit lang unsa. Why? Because at the start of the school year, klaro tong or the start of the semester, and then tanang PowerPoint nanay ila sa buong semester o tanang manual na nasa ila o pati ang rubric ahead. So I'll tell them during the finals you will have an oral presentation during the finals, and the rubrics are here. The way I'm grading the problem sets are here. May no? So explain to them your grading process before the start of the class. Para po walang gulatan, no? Pagkahuman o say mingon, ma'am, nganong ka ng 92 ra gining ako man iya dito kon kay 95, no? Ang maestra gyud na prepare gyud rubric din mi, are you questioning me? We encourage our students to question, especially if they're polite and courteous naman po when they ask clarification. Um, you can actually just tell them, no? So iwas tayo sa mga kanang complain taas nga istorya because po sige, you may wanna rate them yourself. Yeah, maana, no? So also do blind grading when you just look at the rubrics and I don't know, and then return graded activities, of course, and then of course keep a record copy of the completed rubric po. It's also an evidence, no? And so when grading with rubrics, please provide instructions in your syllabus or in your Facebook page, no, so that they would know kung unsaon pag reach sa inyo, ha. I'd like to say to also emphasize, no, kaya ang pangutana is, rubric ng mga college professors. So when you Google, do college professors use rubric? Kan you kayo, no? 2018, kung ganit na ko siya gi-search di ay. Tapos diri akong gusto, using rubrics as a defense against grade appeals. Mga kaso, no? So kani siya nga, actually kani siya nga kaso, kani using rubrics as a defense against grade appeal. There was an allegation of college students na ilahang faculty wala wala nagtarong, no, o grado and wala po dili objective ang paggrado. And did you know na niabot gid korte and several, no, niabot siya I think 1 year, 2 years na litigation. So save yourself from this stress by giving your students clear clear criteria and clear ways of how you're going to grade their tasks as well. Okay, so we wish that you consider rubric because it's quick. It's going to make them see that we're fair and then we are transparent in what we are grading. No? So I hope you also appreciate that. And Ma'am Josephine says, I put rubrics in our syllabus. Actually, that's the ideal po, ma'am. Salamat po, Ma'am Josephine, for sharing. I have Sir Rojin, but I think he will be introduced properly by Sir Arvin. But Sir Rojin will be presenting to you the samples first of the performance innovative task na ginagamit nila sa engineering para naagid tayo makita na kung saan ilahang rubrics na ginagamit, no, and all that, and then we'll proceed to sharing the grading policy of the university. Thank you very much. I'll accommodate your questions later.
Thank you, Ma'am Amphi, for that continuation. Still enriching, still refreshing ang ang mga information nga nag-share ni Ma'am Amphi sa ato. And looking at some of the comments, na ako'y makita nga nagingon nga this is something that has helped them or it is something new that they have learned, no? Even though we've been talking about rubrics, no, ga-apply na gyapon tag mga rubrics sa ato ang klase, no, still nagyapon tayo ka-learn nga okay, duha de ka types of rubric, when are we going to use these rubric, pwede ba nato ni siya mabutang sa ato ang mga when we prepare the task, no, gi-prepare na po din nato ang rubric so that we can use this as a great tool to not just for assessing our students but also a kind of document that would let us that would save us, no, from any problems later on, no, so kung mag-question mga itong students or na mga sila mga pagdududa, at least makita nila dito nagingunan din sila paggrado. Okay, now so we will proceed with our next speaker. Allow me to share my screen. so that I can formally um, introduce him to you. Okay, so our next speaker is Engineer Roger Morcilia. He earned his bachelor's and master's degree from MUST, now known as USTP, where he graduated under programs of Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering and Master on Engineering, major in electrical engineering, respectively. He is a certified CDIO master trainer trained at Singapore in 2014. Included in the CDIO training is advancing CDIO, which was funded by Temasek Foundation. Since 2011, he's been serving as the chairperson of USTP-CiTL's Electrical Engineering Department and is also currently one of CITL's program heads. Engineering ni siya, pero edu kaayo ni siya o kung ano, kanang way of discussing things. Who will be discussing with us right now on performing performance innovative tasks. Ladies and gentlemen, Engineer Rogin V. Mercilia.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Arvin.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay. Okay. Na mute. Sige. Good morning, everyone. So Ma'am Amphi a while ago shared about the rubrics, as well as part of it is one of the assessment method that we can use is the performance test that is actually seen on our as we go into our class record. It's part of the even it's part of our assessment. We're going to assess our student no, from PIT nato. So what I'm going to do today is to share out to you the experiences that I have when it comes to the performance innovative task, as well as some plan on the implementation of this PIT regarding on how we're going to integrate this one in today's new normal, and share something about how did we do in the in the electrical engineering department on the especially on when we talk about doing tasks in the laboratory. No, that's the challenge actually, that now how are we going to do the task now, especially we are having the this distance learning, flexible learning. What are the method that we do in our laboratory ng mga subjects, no? So I will share my screen. Okay. So good morning, and my topic is performance innovative tasks and class performance activities. So basically, in engineering, we call this one as design and build experiences, because in engineering, what we are actually doing is we are applying the concept of the CDIO, the conceive. You have the context of CDIO, the conceive, design, implement, and operate context. So uh, we have this framework. We learned this one from the Singapore Polytechnic, as USTP is one of the collaborators in the CDIO. So CDIO means conceive, design, implement, and operate. Now, why we have this one? Because is in how we implement the OBE. Because CDIO provides us on how we're going to do the active and experiential learning experience for our students, as well as it is a student-centered approach, just like the OBE, as well as it's concentrated on the learning outcomes of the students. So a while ago, Ma'am Amphi discussed to us about the different, the course outcomes, the learning outcomes that is very important with regards to our activities given to our student. And it also is teaching how the students how to learn. So basically, it's teaching on how we're going to make the students learn, not merely uh, just giving the student that they're not learning anymore. So it's student centered, and it's basically part of this concept in design and build is the design thinking, which is also part of the activities given by CITL. no? So dili lang ko kaayo mag-discuss about this design thinking because this part of the concept, but that's the part that that's the part of the concept that used by CDIO, and specifically on design and build activities in each program, no? So also in CDIO, what is being important is, and also when it comes to giving tasks to a student, is the constructive alignment between your learning outcomes, your engaging activities, as well as your assessment. So basically, when we do the designing of our PITs, the performance innovative task, it's important that these engaging activities given to our student is aligned to our learning outcomes or the course outcomes that we have for each subject or the course that we are handling for our students. So it's important because these activities is able to support, no, these outcomes that we're able to facilitate the learning, as well as with these engaging activities given to our student, uh, is the time that we are going to assess them whether they have really attained that particular outcome for that particular subject, no, ang course nato, or specifically for a particular topic, the intended learning outcome. So basically, when we design something, dito ta magbase sa ato ang course outcome. So we anchor each PITs to this course outcomes that we are going to address the student. So importante ang constructive alignment and the assessment part approach. Why we're having the rubrics, no? We're having the rubrics discussed with Amphi a while ago, that also when we do the assessment of this particular engaging activities for a student, uh, it's important to have also the rubrics aligned basically to our what is really intended for that particular activity or outcome. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is to share about this design and build project and other performance task activities. So we have the first one, the electromagnetic projectile cannon, which actually I have done before. This is actually the first PIT that I have did for my student way back 2014. No? When that's the time that we first learned about CDIO. And that's another one is on the consecutive years we have the simple circuits and real world problem. No? And the other one, the next one is the subject, the course on introduction to electrical engineering, when we have different performance tasks or basically a task for a student for a particular topic. No? So we have the electrical engineer, the working with electrical appliances, the wire splices, electrical wiring, and the latecomer student project. So that's the terminal activity that they did for the class. So
Sir Rogin,
uh,
sir,
yes,
Sir Arvin here. Sir Rog, kanang naay background noise, asin ang new step na kusog kaayo.
sa
Salamat.
yung murag nag-step po na mga faculty diri.
Okay.
Isa. Dol, dol. Okay, hinay sa ko sa kuan dol. Step. Okay, pasensya
Okay,
na
better.
kay. So okay, murag nag-multitask po niya ako mga faculty diri. Aning sa kuan. Okay. So kana no, this actually this experiences was before way back pa because actually right now what we are dealing with is on the graduate program. So what uh, I'm going to share to you is my experiences before when I did the PIT. So the first one is the electromagnetic projectile cannon. This is actually a course. This is actually an PIT intended for the course Circuit Theory 1. No, the Circuit Theory 1 is a course in electrical engineering that is given for a third year students. No, bago pa for this one, parang pinakauna siya nga major for if you enter the electrical engineering. So uh, in this course, no, naatay actually three course outcomes. So, but for this PIT, we are targeting to have this course outcome. The first one is CO1. The students are able to apply the basic laws and theorems from some elementary network topology to create actual circuit as a team. And the third outcome is be able to compare and contrast the basic characteristics and responses of circuit elements such as resistor, inductor, and capacitor. So that is the two outcome that is being targeted by this particular na PIT nila. So part of this na naghatag ko og kaning kuan nila ilahang task nila. So we have given an instruction. And the instruction was you have to make your own design of a coil gun. And the fundamental component is a design. The design should be a coil, an inductor, the energy storage capacitor, the switching transistor, timing circuit, and a battery. Those are the basic components. And you have to make your own design of the structure, the body, and the circuitry to make it more competitive and artistic. And the coil gun should launch a small steel projectile. And the energy storage should not be more than 100 joules. So naa kay gihatag nga mura og constraint, no, constraint sa kaning particular PIT, so that you can be able to identify how they're going to apply to solve these different theorems. Then each group will be presenting the design, and they will make a report, written report, a video, and a video documentation on the design and performance of this own coil gun. So each group will compete each other to see which design could launch the longest distance. So mura siya competition, and the best group in each class competition will be competing with the other section. Why? Because before I am handling the all the circuits theory in the engineering, so that's why I have this opportunity also to make to have competition with the different courses in the engineering. Naay circuit theory one like electrical, naay tayo sa electronics, naapod tayo sa computer. So na sila yung mga output nila. So I also presented them a sample picture, no? Inani ang itsura nga possible nga mahitabo for this projectile cannon. And also I have also put there the deliverables, no? So they have to do the deliverable for the project design presentation on the 14th week of the semester. Project competition will be 15th week of the semester. Project written report will be the 16th week, and the video documentation will be on the 16th week of the semester. So it's clear, and also as part of na is naghatag po na yung ko rubrics, no? Uh, the rubrics that I have given is ko rubrics for the project mismo. I have also a rubrics for the final written report, no? Because I also required them for this, no? And part of it is, and also in the final project ako ginang specify diri nga kaning application understanding the circuitry. That's part mo na pinaka-importante, that's why I have given it 40% sa iyang weight. So mumago na ang hit dito sa iyang particular nga course outcomes. The other one is just part lang sa kaning kuan, but nako ang kanang percentage dito sa kaning kuan. So nako sa project nga rubrics, wala lang nako na kompleto no kay taas man guni siya nga file. Then I also have the written report rubrics as well as the video rubrics because I also required them the video. So kumbaga for this one, I required them three. The report written, I also have the video, and also with the project na final and they do the competition. So kana I'm using these rubrics to evaluate each katong kuan. So kana ahan na ako ni nakuha nga rubrics katong yung pumagi pang suggest ni mga fake kay na the rubric star etc. sa daghan kaayo sa katanan. So it's up to you to choose which one would be more applicable to your particular. And for the weights, it's kamo na ang magbutang sa weights kay kamo may naka-determine kung unsa nga particular weight mas ang kuan niya in line dito sa your particular outcome. No? So this is the picture, no, of what we did last 2014, I think 2015. So dito pa sa likod sa gym, which is karon nahimo ng parking lot. So kani ang nahitabo, they have this small competition and this is their output. And part of that, when I evaluate, dili lang pud ako, part of the evaluation was naapoy mga faculty nga nag-evaluate sa ilahang mga output sa katong kuan, so that there would be a marag kuan gyud walay bias na kuan. So it's part of the requirements mo ilang mga output during this kuan. So kada no. Then another one, same subject, no? Pagka next year na sa dayon, same subject, circuit theory 1. And ako siyang gitweak lang gamay, no? I have this output on simple circuits on real world problems, no? Real world ng mga problems. So this particular activity is only targeting for CO1. The students are able to apply basic laws, theorems, and some elementary network topology. Same lang gihapon, but nagyapon ka instruction. Using the current situation in our university, I let them go around the university, identify the prevailing problem experienced by either the students, faculty, staff, or other workers in the university. And with that, they will identify the gain insight of it. No, because at this time ang good ganong inani na akong way of kuan because uh, at this time ang good ga-improve nami kay nakakuha nami about CDIO in depth about sa kuan design thinking, so ana na ang among mga way of kuan na, so gain insight, then from the insight identify the root cause of the problem, you brainstorm, they create an innovative solution, no? So I put there open-minded and think out of the box. Then the solution have the following features, so nana po dayon ko gihatag nga constraint, no? So using the basic DC circuit, incorporate the basic theorems and laws and element to the circuit. Then the fundamental component of the design should be the resistor, inductor, capacitor, and the battery. So mura gina ang basic na component nga dapat na dito sa ilahang design sa ilahang circuit kay circuit 1 pa man ni siya nga subject, no? So kana ang ihang gihatag nako, no? When I give PIT, I give them the autonomy. However, I also put it in a point that naa kay gihatag pud nga constraint nga limitation kay dili ra pud siya pwede nga spread lang pud, no, kay basig 50 bulaag na. So naa gina kaya nga constraint and instruction niya is clear, no? So part of their submission is they have to create a prototype, no? And you have to present the prototype again, then make a written report and a video. So nana pud na siya, and each group will compete with each other and compete with the other section. So nana pud ang schedules of deliverables, problem identification, gaining insight, project proposal, when would be your project prototype exhibit, no? Project written report, video documentation. Okay? So now kani siya nga PIT was given usually sa ilaha sa kanang first pagsugod pa lang sa klase kay para aware na sa daan nila ang ilahang kuan. So dili ta pwede mo hatag og PIT nga ugma na lang i-submit or pagka after a week ay i-submit, no? So ang atong PIT like this one should be given way earlier pa, no? So ana ang atong PIT. So same, since I required them a prototype, a written report, and a video, napod ay ko rubric sa project nila, no, sa ilang prototype. As you can see, ang akong rubrics, wala kayo na siya ga-change. Nga naman, it's because the same man nga skill, but of different lang siya nga project. Different lang siya nga concept, but same nga skill. That's why ang akong rubrics is just the same, including ang akong written report nga rubrics as well as a video rubrics. Okay? And this is the picture of their presentation. Not only, by the way, ang ilang presentation is not a presentation in the class, it's a presentation in the community of USTP actually. So nana ang ilang gikon, they are in the lobby of the engineering, they are there to present. Kinsay tao nga mulabay dito, and in that case, they can get feedback and inputs also from the people. And part ani is the as a final pud nila ani is ipasubmit na ko kani sila og unsay mga improvements nga gi kuan sa ilahang project nila. So muna ang ilang gi-present, no? So faculty, mga staff, mga students nga molabay kana ang ilang presentahan. So kani siya is on the introduction to engineering, no? This is how they look in my class. This ang introduction to electrical engineering manggod is a class where we introduce to the student what is sa first year manggod ni siya nga mga estudyante. It's the purpose of this is that the student will be able to see what is really it nga when they become an electrical engineer in the future, unsa di lang gisudlan. So we let them have activities that they will be able to experience really and be able to see unsa di ining electrical engineering. That's why the first activity that I have is the electrical engineer. So what I did this is that I let them interview an electrical engineer, and I let them tell the story of that electrical engineer. But not that story nga kanang story lang nga kanang ilang kwan, but it's a unique way of telling the story. That's why naay nag diorama, naay nag radio presentation, naay nag interview nga kwan daw sila sa TV just like this one, and also have some video na presentation, and kanipot it's more storytelling and apoy mga kanang presentation. So this is a class activity, but it's a task given to our students. So every time I have this in my class, they always do this. No, dili kay mig lecture nginani, but I let them present. No, maami task every time nga may class. This one is working with electrical appliances. So what I did here is that I let them experience, no, identify the parts of the appliances. I let them bring a damage or kanang guba ang appliances sa classroom, and I let them dismantle it, no, whatever appliances it is. Then identify each parts and its functionality towards that particular appliances so that they can appreciate what's the purpose of its component, no, in connection sa electrical engineering. So now, after na lang ibungkag, dili lang po na nga present nga basta lang, but I let them present in a unique way again. No? Sa munang naanay mga display nga nahitabo diri, display sa kanilang mga appliances, kanilang and they present it in the class. They are always there presenting in the class. So they are active, they are always experiencing what is really it. No? Then in wire splices also, part of our topic is wire splices. That's why I let them also do the wire splices as well as present each splices in a unique way in the class. So ilan ang i-present ang mga different wire splice sa kanang kuan sa electrical manggod natin mga pag splice sa wire, saan pag connect sa wire, sana ang ilang i-present. So then I let them do the electrical wiring. Kung sa gipag-wiring. So ana, so even if nalay small boards nga gikuan lang, no? So gipa-wiring ginako sila sa classic so that they can experience really what is really it in electricity. So I give them a very small circuit and I let them bring the materials, then I let them do the actual electrical wiring. And ma-amaze ka sa mga estudyante because they will be happy to see nga ang ilang gibuhat nga project mo sige na ang suga, no, because first year man sila nga estudyante wala gid sila naka-experience na inani gid ni. So you will see nga inana no nga pag on nila ani magduwa-duwa pag na sila og kanang pansak sa outlet kay mahadlok sila nga mibuto makurintihan, but as a professor you have to monitor them kay basig pag pansak nila mahurot unya ang engineering og kapalong katungod ato nga project. So ana ang iyang kon. So that's why when we do this, what we important thing there is the professors should check this because this is the first year ng mga estudyante. So kani siya is nga experience sa ila is mura sa dili gid nila manimtan kay it's kuno nga nakapasiga gid sila og suga, no, naagi sila yung nakapasiga ng suga kuan nga kuan gid live gid siya nga nasigan nila dili lang siya nga kaning kuan no, sa ana ang iyang way. Then ang ilang final nga project is the latecomer student project where I let them give them a problem that one problem nga ginakahitabo sa estudyante nga always malate. So and let them identify, evaluate a solution, no, nga pwede buhaton nila as a student. So sila man mismo ang estudyante kabalo sila sa ilang mga pain points nganong gakalate sila nganong inana. So that they create a simple circuit out of that, no. Others design like this nga kaning murag sa una man gud sikat patong dance rebo nga katong musayaw ka. So malate man daw sila una nga ang kuan nila sa ilang alarm clock instead nga palungon lang siya musayaw ka sa combination nga katong sa dance rebo sa ana ang ilahang way of ano nga mapalong ayan na siya mapalong sa makasaya sa sayaw ka. So nakatindog naka sa ana ang iyang way. Then kanipon gitest ni Chancellor ni Attorney Albina sa kaning kuan example nga picture is it's actually a hand, no, nga alarm clock. Kapag alarm na, ipaduol na nimo sa imong nawong kay pagtuyok daw maigo imong nawong malapara paro ang estudyante nga ana ang iyang way sa kuan. So it's just simple nga motuyok lang ang katong murag kamot. Ana then others like wala lang din sa picture no, although na ako yung video if siguro tanaw na to niya if there is enough time pa no nga kuan ang estudyante man gud ganahan siya og basketball. So dili pwede mapalong ang alarm unless ma-shot niya ang katong bola no. So ana ang iyang way. So daghan kaayo ang ilang mga idea if you would just let the student give them the autonomy to design something they can create really nga kanang kuan. And also and then tagaan na po di mo siya constraint pod kay para mo kuan lang sila sa katong particular nga activity nga imong gipa create sa ila. So kana it's fun they have that opportunity to have fun to have that kuan experience sa electrical engineering. So the question now is unsaon na nakaron if nagkuan na ta kaning distance learning na dayon kay wala naman ning katong mga mag face to face sila magkuan kana siya mo na ang challenge karon no. uh, what I have is actually kuan pa kanang plan kay because I'm not the one teaching man kani mga subject karon na no. So uh, what is in my mind on how are we going to transform this particular PIT that I have is this kana akong i-share no. So una is this simple circuit on real world problems. So how do we do this one in the kuan? So na naman tanan karon sa online naman ato namang i-upload dito ang mga instruction etc. So unsay buhaton no? Unsay buhaton. So uh, what I did with this real world problem since I give them a task. Ako siyang gi-chop into chunk of tasks. No, basically I have here around mga 4 to 5 tasks. Dili siya nga diretso pero sa una nga diretso na kog hatag inani ang iyang task but chunk of tasks. So just like this example that I have, performance task 1, no? Task PTA PT1A1 so kana siya task 1 simple circuits on real world. So same course outcome but the instruction here nga una nila is using the current situation in your home na. Dili na siya sa kaning kuan sa university but sa ilang balay mismo because ilang community dito naman sila maka-identify of prevailing problem experienced by you or both by the people in the community. Make a written report and the whole problem identification process. So identify na sila problem dito written report. So karon po din ang ibutan nako nga ang ilahang deliverable schedule no third week sa semester August example 20. Then naka-attach na po dayon dito ang performance task nga rubrics sa written report because I required them a written report for this. Now, unsa importante ani when we submit now their report, dapat naa ka feedback and consultation time, no? Dili pwede nga when they submit walay feedback, may tabo kay dili man siya pareha sa klase nga naa ka didto atubang sa estudyante but and also consultation time when we do this identification of problem, consultation time is provided between deadlines and feedback. So dili pwede nga pasagdaan rin mo ang estudyante nga tagaan nimo din let them do in their own. So no. Then another one after the identification PT18A2 second na ni siya for the same na PIT. So naa na po dayon ko diri with your identified problems as a group na sila group na no. So ang kuan nga imo na sila itapok no gain insight from the community no then document a research observation or interview or maybe done no and collaborate as a group to identify the root cause of this problem. So make a written report and a video on gaining insight conducted so document should be present and how did the group collaborate no on the root cause of the problem. So katong gikan sa individual what will happen is that ako na silang i-group, ma-identify naman ako adto ang problem nga ilaha. So ma-cluster na rin sa maestro kung kinsay pare-pareha og problem. Then ako din na silang i-grupo nga pare-pareha og problem ang mahitabo. So in such a way, in that case, makag-collaborate dayon sila nga same nga concept nga problem. So when they collaborate, gikan atong insight nila, then they can make a report out of that. So part ana is the written report and a video. So munang naapog yung rubrics diri sa report at saka sa video. So again, naagi po si feedback o consultation time provided between deadlines. Number 2, no? And number 3, nga task na nila is kato na silang uh, from the insight of your group, you have submitted a brainstorm and propose an innovative engineering solution. So, gikan atong identify na lang ang pinaka root cause gyud, no? Maghimo na lang sila og engineering solution, mag-brainstorm na sila. So, the solution should have the following features. So, muna ni akong gibutangan na lang ako ang features na dapat DC circuit lang, basic theorems, and the fundamental components, design of the resistor and the battery. So, mura gyapon nga mga constraint. So, then they also have to create a written project proposal and a video using PowerPoint, through using PowerPoint nga murag video presentation. So napod na ang iyang date when to submit, ang iyang week. Then naka-attach po din si rubrics for written at saka video. So again, feedback and consultation time is provided between deadlines. Then number 4 is they on the time that they are going to create the prototype. So maghimo na ni sila. So with your group, you will create a prototype with rigid structure, eye-catching, etc. No? Now, akong gidugang lang diri is you have to break down each part of the prototype. I let them break down each part of the prototype according to the number of persons in your group and assign each part to each members. So, gago nila, then each part sila maghimo, rely sila, no? Then clearly present how these are going to be integrated. So ilan ang i-present mo? So ano nyo na pag-integrate? Nga nagbulag-bulag man mo, no? So clearly present on how this are going to be integrated, and you will present this prototype through a video blog in YouTube. So ana ang idea, no? So the video blog should document the process how to provide a prototype is developed from problem identification to creation of the final prototype. So you will compete against each other to see which project the most significant by a number of views and good comments in YouTube. So the prototype with the most number of views and comments will gain a badge, which has an equivalent bonus point. So ana ang iyang kuan kay murag kuan gyapon consent. Ay kanang kuan nila murag konsuelo sa ilahan. No? Now, nadin kay deliverable nga schedule and napodayon si rubrics for video and the final project na dayon, no? So, then last na ila, ang fifth nga chunk is the final written report. So with your group written prototype, make a written report of the whole process. The report should present how the basic theorems and laws and some literary network topology are applied to the prototype. Also with the report state your reflections and learnings as you create the project. So ipatik kayo ng reflection, no, of learnings nila so when they create the project. So ana ang iyang way. So instruction na yan niya, then deliverables, and also the written report rubrics is also attached there. Okay? So kato lang siya how we're going to transform. So ako na klaro what happened was gikan sa isa ka PIT, I break it down into 5 chunks kay para dili ka siya bugat sa estudyante. Dinaan din siya mga date of to submit until the end that they will create that one big PIT, no? So ana. Then for this class performance activities in my electrical engineering katungkuan na intro to EE. Example, this is the electrical engineer class activity for in the face-to-face. So for online, instruction na gihapon, no? So clear ibutang nimo nga unsa nga course outcomes, unsa nga ILO, no? Like this one, present the possible career of an electrical engineer with instruction dayon kay during the face-to-face, maistorya man nimo sa ila, inani ang instruction kay class performance man activity. But for this online man ta, dapat klarohon nimo ang instruction dito, no? So mo gyapon, no, with your area of community, identify an electrical engineer or registered, pwede po professional. With your identified electrical, conduct a research on his success story. No, you should be able to know how he became an electrical engineer, his experiences, responsibilities, and importance of his work. So ana ang iyang instruction, no? So then make a 3-minute video presentation. of the chosen electrical engineer. Be artistic and creative in the video. Submit the video and before the specific deadline. So napaka-deliverable, story video, August 28, 2020. And kani pa dayon ang iyang rubrics for the video. Yung mga attached. Okay, so working with electrical appliances, no, if face-to-face na ni, makakatag nimo but kung is clear instruction, na kay course outcome, na then na kay ILO, recognize and explain the electrical function of each component of an electrical circuit. So instruction, find a defective electrical appliances in your home. Example, electric fan, electric iron, etc. With your defective electrical, take a photo of it and disassemble all parts of the appliance from Gagon. Then, with the disassembled parts, identify each part and evaluate the function of each part. So then you create a video presentation of the electrical appliance. Then the video should at least be 3 minutes maximum and should present the process of disassembly and discussion of the function of each part. So make a video creative and eye-catching. So upload in our class YouTube channel and a video that will have the most number of views and good comments uh, on video evolution deadline will gain a badge and a bonus point. So to submit the video link, YouTube before the or on or before the video upload deadline. So muna ang yang nasa video upload schedule, then evaluation schedule. Yung kada ang iyang video. Okay, so those are the things na pwede buhato, no? In transforming that one. So the next one is sharing to you what we have done in the electrical department sa among laboratory nga mga experiences kay mo mga task yun. Kung saan man amo ni among laboratory. Right now, we're offering these courses like circuitry 2, electrical apparatus and devices, the electrical machines 1, and the on-the-job training. So yun sana mamang OGT nga di man pwede makaadto sa industry. Ang task, no? So this is what we look before in our laboratory, before new normal. No? Inana, engage ang estudyante, they will do their projects there, they will present yung actual experiment. So, kasi buhato nimo nga, wala man ni siya nga facility sa ilang balay. Wala man ni siya nga kuan. So, and this is also the new norm, before new normal sa among energy conversion lab. Nana. Now, for circuitry, what we did is muna nangita may mga resources. As a professor, mangita kag resources nga mga online nga pwede nga laboratory nga etc. No? So for circuitry, what we did is we identify a free online simulator. No? It's also available in Android application. No? Android application na pwede nga easy to use. An animated current flow and waveform can be seen there and reliable simulation results. That's why if you are going to have this one, www.falstad.com/circuit/ kana siya, it can be used for this subject. So katong mga electrical diya nga gagamit gyapon og mga inani, mga electronics, this one it can be a good source for laboratory nga simulators. Inani ay ang result. Ang iyang beauty ani is naalang siya dayon siya mga waveform. So ikaw ang electrical nga estudyante, get ani man yung waveform. So yun sana siya example pare ani. No, mo ni ang laboratory nga gipasolve sa ila ha. No? Example sa klase sa lecture gipasolve sa ila nga circuit. Lecture manual calculation, nakakaani nga circuit, din gipasolve kani nga particular nga output niya. So, usa pag-appreciate niya sa estudyante sa laboratory, dapat makita niya ang unsa di itsura ani dito. So that's why we use Falstad. Nani? So inani na layan ang iyang itsura dito sa simulator and makita na diri sa estudyante ang iyang result, no? So, makita niya kato iyang answer dito is really the same result nga mogawas diri sa iyang simulation. Din makita niya ang waveform sa kaning kuan. Then, napagilain, no? Pangita man niya ako mga maestro, unsa pagilain resource pagit aside from that. Kaya mangita paagi nga sama na to nga ma-appreciate niya ang kaning mga task na gihatag sa estudyante. So, napod tayo gitawag og circuit lab. nga free gihapon. Online simulator just like workbench. Drag and drop na lang and it's easy to use. So inani ang itsura. Just like this one, kaning activity sa lab manual na ilang kuan buhaton. So inani ang itsura sa simulator nga kuan. So naka-lab manual nga inani nga part sa imong task nga okay, you do this laboratory in the lab manual. So inani darayan ang iyang kuan. So online na siya. So and gusto pud ka og nanatanan natay virtual lab nga gi kuan sa free. This actually India ang gakuan no. India nga dili na siya actually electrical na naapo siya lain nga mga courses sa sulod sa virtual lab. If you can explore this one, it will be very useful sa inyong mga task na ihatag sa estudyante no. It's a free online laboratory with theories, pictures, self-evaluation, data simulator, assignment and references are there with animation and labs for other courses are also available. So just like this one, in part of the circuitry is this parallel LCR, muna yung gatong resistor, conductor, at saka capacitor circuits. So nana dili tanan. Nana siya yung free nga simulator, free laboratory, virtual lab. No? Muna siya. Then, ang atong university na atay gitawag og Amatrol. Basig wala mo kabalo no? Nga naa di si Amatrol nga gi-purchase atong eskwelahan kay because you guys are new pa man. No, basig wala mo kabalo nga naa di laboratory nga online nga gi-purchase si university nga pwede gamiton for PITs task no. Naa si Amatrol is an online laboratory. Now the beauty of Amatrol is industry based. Laboratory experiments are there. So gikan sa katong theoretical, makita na din sa unsa din ni itsura sa industry. Unsa din ni actual. Kay katong ganina kay puro ra man ni siya draw nana raman mga nanira. So sa kaning kuan Amatrol, the student will really see nanay yang itsura sa picture. Inani ang circuit. Okay? So they can really see nga unsa din na dito sa industry unsa din na so naa na po na siya dito mga laboratory online nga mga resources na pwede gamiton. No? That can be part of your task if you can explore. So please explore this one because this is actually purchased by a university. Sig na ay ma-applyan sa inyong subject nga pwede gamiton, no? So mo no ang gid estudyante inani di itsura gikan ani nga kuan nani na dayon ang iyang pag-apply sa actual sa estudyante. So when you give them a task to do this one, eh syempre basig uban wala pa tester sa ilang balay, wala mga material so na si Amatrol nga pwede na siya gamiton. Then for our electrical apparatus, we also use the Amatrol no nga makit-an sa estudyante nga mornings actual og transformer man god maingon tag transformer inani ra na makit-an sa laboratory but si Amatrol ina ipakita inani itsura sa transformer sa industry naa dito and they can see it really nga nani ang iyang kuan so no nani ang itsura sa transformer sa electrical ang transformer magud makit-an sa laboratory nani ra later on sa kanang atong kuan so ma-appreciate sa estudyante nga inani din na diay sa actual sa Amatrol so mo ni siya no so dinakan ako na so example pare ani nga laboratory no troubleshoot a transformer by measuring continuity. So, ang activity. So, ILO to know how to troubleshoot a transformer through Amatrol virtual simulator. So, muna ang iyang skill nga pwede ko ano na ay mga test group dito na kay kaning kuan, kaning tester, then kana na din siya transformer nga imong i-test online lang siya. So, now gusto po kag free, di lang ko sa Amatrol sir or pwede ko virtual lab. Virtual lab pwede sad. Sa virtual lab, na po siya electrical machines dito. Dagan siya component actually. Same siya. It's free with online procedure, self, and with animation. So, nana ang yung itsura, no? So, just like this one, familiarity of electrical machines apparatus. So, ILO recognize the device commonly used in electrical machines. So, muna siya, equipment electrical machines using virtual lab. So, muna iyang link na pwede naman ihatag sa estudyante. I-click na nila. Then kanina na rin yung mugawas. So ma-identify na nila nga unsa man ni with this symbol unsa dinhi ang itsura sa actual sa component. So naa na siya dito. Drag and drop na dayon. Identify task as estudyante nga okay, part of the task of the laboratory is identify the symbol of electrical motor. So asa man diha. So ana ang iyang way ani siya. Then for machines also, we can use the amatrol again. So mo ni para sa electrical naman ni mga motor. So ang kuan ni amatrol is makit-an lang gid niya kung unsa nang itsura sa motor. Mo ni siya ang iyang animation using a tachometer na instrument. Then mo na din siya ang iyang itsura sa actual when we do the tachometer sa motor sa kaning video na makit-an. So ana ang iyang kuan, ana siya daan nga mga kuan segments kaning mga kuan niya material. And if you want to go into detail, just like this one, this ILO is to be able to explain how the current carrying coil and a magnetic field experience a turning effect. So sa man nimo sa ilang balay makit-an nila nga unsa man ang turning effect sa electromagnetic, sir, no? Okay ra na ato sa classroom kay makita natay mga kuan diri. So marang gapangita gyapon mi sa department unsa mga possible nga kuan. So that's why we use this easy Java simulation. We gather this on Fui Kyun Wang ang looking of Singapore. No? So this is free online simulator. Android application is available. No? It can be used to introductory experiments just like this one. Nga makita nila ng mga kanisya nga pagmutuyok ni siya na ada yung mugawas diri nga angle o magnitude sa iyang magnets. Ana siya with animation and interactive pa siya. So ana. So ang ita lang gig resources ang maestro kung unsay pwede buhaton karon nga panahon sa pandemic kay really when you give the task ang unang imong una-unaon is whether how can this particular task can be done at home, can be done when they are not there in the laboratory, just like this one. So OGT pod we are using Amatrol because Amatrol mag industry based. That's why in Amatrol we can design what particular nga topic among ibutang. So just like this one si Amatrol naa na siya yung mga troubleshooting, system troubleshooting with DC motors, DC motor workplace safety. So importante man sa OGT ang safety sa workplace. PPE kanang sa protection kanang kuan niya, protective equipment sa workplace, confined space safety, lockout at tag-out, importante na siya sa engineering. Then working in groups muna importante kay no kang naka sa industry, you should be working in groups. So muna among gihatag sa ila to do it using the Amatrol. So Amatrol may nagamit sa ila. It's done through Amatrol. So kani so makit-an na yun ni professor ko unsa ilang nahitabo performance nila kay naamang siya mga quizzes na siya evaluation si Amatrol. So just like this one makit-an ni professor ko asa na ni sila mga estudyante. Kanin prani ni Colarte humana siya ag lockout tag out, humana siya workplace safety, humana siya PPE. So ang beauty lang iani is that the student can work it anytime anywhere kung usa niya nga phase na iyang gusto. So iyaha lang pagbuot kung kanus siya mahuman ani nga kuan kay di man tagdud ka sure ang interconnection sa estudyante kung inaana ka stable pud on the time, no? And also makit-an ni professor pud ang iyang performance just like this one na 60 lang ang iyang kuha. So pwede ko nga maghatag po reinforcement ani na ihatag sa iya to have this particular skill. Kaya siya. So monitor tanan. So then part of it is the student will submit a narrative report for the whole on the job training with Amatrol LMS. So now, sir, unsa pa pwede sir like example sa amo sir nga biology etc. nga pwede nga task nga unsa pa online nga resources natay gihatag when we have this link no kaning ptcolorado.edu simulation filter subject physics sort kani siya daghan kayo siya subject. For example physics alone na siya mga motion sound waves etc. kani siya daghan kayo nga pwede nimo gihatag sa task nga sa estudyante. For chemistry na apod, for math na apod na dire, earth science, biology na po na siya per grade level. Depende na yan sa imo faculty karon kung unsa nga particular nga ani daghan. Example kaning sa physics daghan ka 106 results ka mga pwede buhatag sa estudyante. So this can be designed in one of your tasks example na aka ani nga particular outcome, di bakit ani mo diri kani siya nga mo fit di siya kani ka outcome, so that ako ning hatod dito as a task of my student nga ilang buhaton. So kana no. So I think diha lang no, my sharing, uh, maybe you can explore what I have suggested nga mga kuan, because as of now manggod, the important thing there is that as professor, what is important is there is we need to find resources daily that even if nata diri wala ta nag face to face estudyante, the student can really learn with this particular task lang. So una nga daghan kaayo nga mga resources nga pwede nato gamiton if we just explore with the internet, no, and nga dili kailangan mag-purchase of that amount of project for our laboratory, for our task. No? The only thing there is we need to explore first nga atong makuan for our students. So kada lang, thank you kaayo Ma'am Amphi and Arvin for this opportunity to share something with the group of new faculty. Good morning.
Thank you, Sir Rajin, for sharing us your PITs, no? And as you just witnessed, Engineer Morcilia really prepares his PITs very well, most especially that his activities are accompanied with rubrics. So he really goes down to the very detail of his activities, no? And I hope that you are all inspired to also do that
Yes, ma'am.
with your ano with your activities, no, in your classes, even if we are doing it online. um kuan, Even if we're doing it online, no, um we still have to prepare that. I believe Engineer Morcilia has kuan pa, no, something to share.
Ay, yes Sir RV, no? Ako lang tong giputol kay para di kayo ko ano. Kay sumsa kayo mo dito ko grading policy. Na nag-discuss ko PIT. So, sige. Mali na sad ta. Different na sa inyo first. Now, what is important also to discuss with this new faculty is the grading policy with the university. No, kagado kanina is just in connection with the performance task. So today part also of my discussion is on the academic policy used by our university. Maybe some of you have heard this already. Maybe some of you have also asked this with your fellow nga mga kauban sa department, no? And maybe basig napay wala na to nahibalan, and this is the time also that we could really see unsa gid ay ang details regarding ani nga policy. Okay? So please allow me to share to you regarding this academic policy. Okay? So okay, uh, sige. So for us faculty, what is really important is the grading system, no? Okay, especially karon nga ating kung man ta nag midterm, no, maybe na may mga question nga nainani ni nga nang tanong mo sa inyong kauban nga kulig nga sir, ang anong kanus ang anong makuan man nganong DF nganong kana ano nani ang grade, no, so ngano nani pag compute asa ni gikan etc. So nana siya sa atong grading policy sa atong handbook, no, basically the handbook itself has this one. So in our handbook chapter 14 article 1, no, uh, it stated there that the academic performance of a student shall be evaluated and graded at the middle and at the end of the term. So meaning kaduha di ay midterm at saka finals. Ayan, midterm at saka final. That's why di ay nga we are obliged to give a grade on midterm. However, karon lang kay due to the pandemic, you know, due to the pandemic, we are not that strict regarding this submission sa midterm, no, but we are all required really based on our handbook to submit on midterm and finals. Nga naman ang purpose ana is that kabalo ang estudyante nga inani yung performance sa midterm so that they can also cope up, no, basig sa finals. So dili siya pwedeng wala tay grado sa midterm. So karon lang ni siya nga pandemic nga we are that lenient sa submission sa midterm grade because we are considering kaya distance learning man ta karon we are considering nga napay mga estudyante nga wala pa ka-submit sa mga tasks, sa mga activities, no? And dili man kay pakaron particular sa kaning submission date ano man na. So that's why dili pag kay takuan sa midterm pod. But for some students nga kumpleto na ang midterm then you can really give grades mo na natin grade sa midterm. But based on the handbook wali ko nako we are all obliged to give no pag normal na ni siya we're all obliged to give the midterm and the final grades no di pwede nga tibuon lang nako sa final sir di siya pwede pag mag-normal na ta no dapat naagit ta midterm na at the finals no then the instructor shall be the sole authority no to determine the grades of the student so dili pwede nga bisag kinsa lang ang mga taga-grado no so siya ang na sole authority to determine and give grades no and give grades of her student no basically what nganong gi-point out ni siya because it's part of the experience manggod sa una nga ang online di ba online man ang atong grado pag input sa pre-sem lang no it's part of the experience manggod sa una nga basig unya ang nag-input dito sa grado dili si professor so atong i-bear in mind nga when we input the grades there final na rabato siya so dapat pag mag-input pa kita gid mag-input sa grade no we should not be that complacent nga ato ang ihatag sa ato ang college nga palihog lang kog input anibay palihog lang kog input anibay so basig niya og naay sayop and we are the one manggod nga naay sole authority ana atong grado so maingon ta karon nga nasayop later on walay nasayop lang ikaw ra gid ana kay ikaw man ang pasabutan nga nagbutang sa grado so no so dili gid dapat nga magpa-input lang ta sa lain nga tao kita gid ang mag-input sa grado for the student no and the grading of the student no shall be in uniform using number grades in the multiples of 0.25 from 1 to 5 so where 1 is the highest and 3 is the lowest passing grade that's why our grade karon is muna siyang 1.25 1.5 so naka-break siya by 0.25 1.75 no ana ang iyang grading so wala na lang sa una nga naay mga 1 maybe sa mo have experience katong na mga 1.1 pa 1.2 1.3 wala na siya karon no so naka 0.25 na atong grado okay so may na ani na ay iyang grado nato no this is the grading system that we have 1 is the highest the percentage equivalent is 97 to 100 and that it would be excellent 1.25 until 5 so the passing is 3 3.0 equivalent percentage equivalent is 75 ako lang klaro ho na the equivalent percentage equivalent is not the same as the passing percentage okay kay kani siya iya lang equivalent nga kuan sa kaning 3 but wala na siya nagpasig uban man gud mahingon nga 75 di ang passing sa kay tres man ang kuan so dili siya are really in the next slide are really the passing is 70 no 70 but when we say tres nga sa kanang grado na the equivalent of that is 75 percent no ana siya so 4 is conditional and 5 is fail no now the student shall be graded in accordance with the following system, no? And naapod tayo gitawag og INC, incomplete, DF, drop with failure, withdraw, W, and OD is officially drop. Now, nako gibutang nga note din no? Note, there is a modification due to the flexible learning and pandemic. But this is for approval by the Board of Regents pa. It's actually approved by already by the Academic Council. But now it is waiting for the approval by the Board of Regents. Now, the grade of P, no, P, shall be given to students who are unable to complete the modified course requirements, no, which can be changed to numerical grade within a period of 1 year. So, na tayo P nga grade karon, no, if ma-approve ni siya, na si P. And no, muli siya. No, there should be no 5.0 or failed grade will be given this semester. So, kumbaga, walay 5 na mahatag karon nga semester based aning modification nga gihatag aning for approval pa sa Board of Regents. No? So, naakay P, no? Uh, if you're releasing a kuan, so man na an IP and this kaning kulang pa ang ilang requirements, no? And it can be modified within 1 year. Nang tanong ka, sir, what will happen after 1 year? Wa pa nila na comply, no? If they cannot comply within 1 year, this P will become automatically a 5. Ay mo na siya automatically 5 based on these guidelines for modification. So now, this can only happen if there would be like this, a pandemic ng mga situation. So, ang P nato, aya lang niya siya pag inani. But if normal ta, balik ta ato atong nasa atong handbook nga mga kuan, handbook nga guidelines, no? So the P is given only for unable to complete the modified the course requirements for the subject. And this is only for 1 year and dapat makomply nila within 1 year kay kung dili makomply mas 5, no? And wala dayon 5 or failed grade will be given this semester. Muna siya ang base sa katungkuan due to this pandemic. But again, this is not yet kuana because this is for board approval. Naalay mo gawas nga memo pag ma-approve na sa board. Okay? So, kanala ako lang ng istorya because for us to be prepared by this. Okay, upcoming na siya may cover. Another one is the INC. When do we give INC? Now, a grade of 3.25 to 4 is conditional and shall be given only during midterm grade period. So, ang kana ding 3.25 to 4 dito na sa midterm. Namang gay uban sa una nga mohatag og grado og 4 sa kuan sa finals. So, dili ta pwede mohatag og 4 sa finals. If the when you compute it in normal times, no, when you compute the grade, ang iyang grado is 3.3 kuan yun, 3.85, 3 kuan yan or within 4, 5 na siya automatically sa finals. But if it is midterm, then you can give that grade, no, 3.25 to 4. Now, when do we give INC? Ang INC nga grade is given to student. Duha lang. Who may qualify for passing but has not taken the final examination. No? Pwede pa mo pasar, ako rin klaro na, pwede pa mo pasar and wala nakatake og final exam or has not completed with other major requirements of the subject. What are those other major requirements? Other major requirements can be your PIT. No? Katong mga dagko og katong mga major nga requirements ikaw may nakabaluan as professor, no? And laron nga nako who may qualify for passing. Nga naman namanggoy uban nga gakahitabo nga gipa kuan nila wala ka take og finals pero pag check nila nga even if ipatik nila og finals even perpikon niya ang finals di gid gihapon siya mopasar, no? Na may case kay inana, no, nga even if imo lang i-check sa imong kuan sa imong class record benefit of the doubt perpikon niya ang final exam wala siya nakatake mopasar ka ni siya. If perpikon niya ang final exam mopasar ganito siya then butang ka INC. Pero pag butang nimo og final exam nito nga perfect na imo nang 100 di kaya pa siya mopasar, wala na, di na kailangan nga ipatake. Ngano man, you are just giving false hope to the student, manggod. I-comply lo ganan niya, naman ti completion form, pag comply niya nito 5 ra gyapon, i-comply niya ang 5. So ano, so bear in mind, like for example, major requirements. Perpikon nimo yung major requirement, pero bagsak man gyapon, so wala na gyapon, no use of kuan. So do not put INC that one. 5 gina siya if inana ang case sa estudyante. But if there is a chance nga mopasar siya bisag Torpiko ni mo to siya, then give INC. No? Uh, and this INC should be complied or satisfied within 1 school year. Ang pasabot sa 1 school year is 2 semester and 1 summer. Reckon from the end of the term that the student has incurred the INC. Otherwise, the INC grade shall automatically be converted into 5.0. So 1 year gyapon ang INC. Kung di niya ma-comply, 5. Ano ang yan ko? No? Now, note, na po yung modification. Due to the pandemic and flexible learning, for approval again, there should be no INC grade in this semester. Suspended ang atong INC. Nga naman, due to the fact again, nga pandemic man ta karon and naatay P. So if wala siya ka-submit, P ang imong ibutang. Ayo INC. No? So ana ang iyang kuan. So modification, wala tay suspended ang INC karon nga semester due to the pandemic. But again, if normal, we will be back to the specified grading system na policy. Okay? Now, ako rin karuho, no. Now, in the absence of the instructor concerned, the department chairman will evaluate and recommend the appropriate grade to be given to the student subject to the approval of the dean, provided that the application for completion is within the allowable prescribed period. There are cases manggod nga wala na diha ang instructor. Example, mga part-time nga instructor, no? Mukalit lag kawala, nagtudlo siya karon nga sem, pagka next sem wala na, di na malocate sa estudyante, nawala na parang bula. So, unsay may tabo. So, si instructor as si department chairman ang mo-evaluate o mohatag sa grado. Now, muna siya ka-importante sa class record. Why? If walay class record, maglisod na din karon sa chairman kung unsaon niya paghatag sa INC ay sa grade sa INC kay si chairman di man siya kabalo kung unsa nga particular nga kulang sa estudyante. Because again, di ba, ang kulang, ang base ato sa INC giving is wala siya nakatik finals o wala siya major requirement. So, if walay gibilin ang instructor nga kuan, nga class record, dili ma-verify sa department, sa chairman, kung unsay kulang sa estudyante. And kana siya, we are all required to submit a class record at the end of the semester. Munang requirements sa ato ang clearance po as a professor, no, as mga gatatulo sa klase, no? So requirement ta mo nang gapangayon kita sa department or sa college o clearance kay kani nga siya nga purpose importante kay nasa because unsaon na lang alisod sa kimong hangad-hangad ang chairman sa grado. So dito gi siya magbase sa class record na gi-submit tanawon niya dito kung unsay kulang and kana siya ang ipa-comply sa estudyante o to evaluate sa chairman, no? So an INC grade is only given during final period. Balik ko na ko ang INC dito sa finals. Dili ta pwede mo hatag INC sa midterm. Okay? Now, a mark of W is given to the student who voluntarily and officially withdraw his or her registration from the program. No? So W, si registrar ang bubutang ana, dili kita. No? Pag mag-withdraw ng estudyante, automatically sa registrar butangan niya na og W if nag-withdraw ang estudyante. So, asa lang tataman, mabutang tag DF, mabutang tag INC, no? Pero wili ta pwede mabutang sa withdraw. No, kay si register daan na. Okay? Now, putanan na po, sir. When are we going to give DF? Drop with failure. Now, a mark of DF or drop with failure shall be given to student who drop the subject without permission of the instructor concerned. So, kung baga nag-awol, no, nawala lang kalit ang estudyante, DF na siya. Now, another, based on Chapter 8 of the Article 4 of Student Handbook, when the student exceeds the allowable number of absences, no, naa dito na, later on, ato na ma-discuss sa ulahi, no, pila di ay ka% ang allowable absences sa estudyante din, ma-drop na dayon siya. So, ano siya, no? So, a mark of DF is not required, is not equivalent to a failing grade. So, muna itong muna na, DF is not equivalent to 5.0. Now, again, due to this pandemic, there is a modification. The giving of grades for DF is again suspended for this semester. Nga naman, unsay basihan nato when we give DF attendance, and for this including attendance, di ba? O without permission with the instructor concerned, di ta pwede makahatag DF karon because uh, ang atong attendance karon dili magid nato siya significant kay dili man ta gitawag pa nato, di ba? Natay synchronous o asynchronous na way of delivery sa flexible learning. So dili man ta pwede mag-synchronous permanente, no? Di man ta pwede ana. So asynchronous man ta. That's why we are not having this DF in this semester. So wala tay DF. Di ta pwede mahatag DF karong midterm ha. Basig na ay naghatag og DF, no? So ana ang kuan. So wala tay DF karong midterm. Again, no? And kana so naa na siya ani nga policy, wala lang siguro na ko nabutang no nga if ang DF sir mit kanus ara ba ni siya ano ba ni sa next. Now, ang DF sir, what if sa final sir? Example, pag abot sa after midterm, pag ang estudyante na sige nag-absent, no? Pag check niya sa yung midterm, bagsak man siya. Pag normal niya, pag bagsak man siya, pag abot sa finals, nagsige na rin siya absent kay ingon man sa policy nga ma-DF dayon ni siya kung masige siya absent based sa kaning kuan. Kay para lang din siya mabagsak kay 5 man daw. So dili na siya pwede karon. Based sa policy nato ana, pag ang absences ma-incur na niya after the midterm exam, no? After the midterm exam, automatically you compute the grade of the student. Dili na siya mo musulod kang DF, drop with failure. So you compute the grade with that student after finals. And if the grade is a failure, then that is a failure. Dili ka pwede mahatag og DF sa finals. Si DF, dili lang gid tataman sa midterm. Meaning, di-drop with failure na siya daan sa midterm. So, di ta pwede mahatag DF sa finals. Okay? So, ana ang iyang kuan. Kay, morning ka kay tabo sa una. Estudyante, makit-an niya, uy, 5. Ay, kanang 4 akong grado sa midterm. Naman dito, pwede mag-absina ako sa finals kay para ma-DF ako. Di ko mabagsak. So, di na siya pwede karon. No, nana sa atong handbook nga, when this incurs in the finals, the absences, then we compute the grade, and after that, pag bagsak ang estudyante, then it really is a failure. No? Bagsak siya. Okay? So, how do we compute the grade? The cumulative grading system is used for computing the grade, the final grade. Now, in computing the final grade, any of the following will be used as discussed and agreed between the students. So, nan nagibutang diha as discussed and agreed between the instructor and the student concerned. So, na kay duha ka option for the final grade. But it should be clearly discussed and agreed between the instructor and student at the start. No? Una, if for your final exam coverage, if all the topics from the beginning of the semester, meaning the coverage of the finals are all the topic from the beginning, the midterm grade is given a weight of 1/3. So, unsay pasabot anay? If ang imong coverage sa finals gikan sa sugod, ang imong midterm grade is only 1/3 of the final. So, ang imong final term grade is 2/3. So, 1/3, 2/3. 1/3 midterm, 2/3 ang final term. That's how you compute the final grade. Now, if the coverage of your final examination is only the topic discussed in the final term, the midterm grade is given a weight of 1/2. So meaning, 1/2 midterm, 1/2 finals. If ang coverage nimo is only kato lang sa final term. Now, kana siya, this should be agreed by the student. So 1/3, 2/3 at saka 1/2. Depende sa coverage sa final exam. Now, na-ginote din ni only the office of the director of the RSIS is authorized to officially release the grades. No? Any grades released by the instructor or released by anybody, even the chairman, is not official, no? Ang makahatag lang yun og official grade is ang registrar. Munang sa ako as chairman, pag may mga ganyan, sir, pwede may mangayo o katong grades namo tanan karon nga semester. Nga kuan may ngon nga dili man ko pwede mo release ana ang registrar ang maka-release sa final grade. So dito sila mangayo sa official. Labi na og example, gamitan nila sa mga scholarship, gamitan nila for submission outside the school. So only the registrar can release the official grades. Kay basin man god magatag-hatag ka diha nya na-experience pag sa una nga naghatag ang chairman nya nahitabo gi-edit sa estudyante, gisubmit niya sa iyang scholarship, no? So nahitabo adto moto nga pag-check dayon sa scholarship ay sa katungkuan bagsak man di ay so dili nag-match ang iyang kuan so ana. So only the registrar can release the grades, official grades. Okay? Although the student can see the grade but ang official get ang registrar. Okay? So how do we compute? In computing the grade, no? Nakay mga performance items. So nakay tulo ka classification, nakay class standing performance that has two categories, the long quiz and the other class performance. And number 2 is the major exam. We have the midterm and the final exam. Paano rin ka, sir? How about the prelim and the semi? The semi and the prelim are long quiz performance item in that one under quiz. So the prelim and the semi are long quizzes. Muna siya. Okay? Then the third one is performance innovative task. Mo tong gidiscuss sa ganina, no? The PIT. All innovative project, hands-on exam, oral exam, and final term project falls under PIT. Okay? Final term project. So it is not just any project, it's performance innovative task. Namunggoy uban nga ang PIT kay kuan lang, basta lang naghatag og PIT, gipasolve lang. So akong balik ko na importante nga ang atong PIT nga gihatag should be aligned with our course outcome. Okay? Di ka pwede maghatag nga pagpalit lang og libro muna imong PIT. So di na siya pwede ha. That is kuan so nga pagtas no mga PIT. So ana ang kuan pagpalit lang og kurtina di na siya pwede. So di na siya pwede nga PIT. Okay? So ana na siya ha. So that's important. Mga atong PIT nga gihatag should be aligned to our kuan to our outcome of the student, no? So we are the expert of our subject and you should be the one designing the PIT, the task for a student. So balik ko na ako no natay midterm grade average kanang makuha nato pag compute the student performance indicator during the midterm and the final grade average na atay gihatag na sa Excel nato. Okay, for the final term. Okay, so for the class standing performance, mutong gingon nga nanay do ka category. Long quizzes, these are all quizzes, prelim, magiging ako prelim and pre-fi, semi, no? Pre-fi final exam are included in the performance item. Now, remember this, for a 3-unit course, there should be a minimum of 3 long quizzes conducted per major term. Okay? If 3 unit na imong subject, dapat na kay tulo ka quiz sa midterm, tulo ka quiz sa finals. Dili pwede nga tulo lang sa whole semester. Okay? Sir, if 4 units, sir, di upat ka quiz. Upat ka quiz sa midterm, upat ka quiz sa finals. Ano siya? So, kung pila ka units na siya, that's the number of long quizzes should be conducted in each term. Now, other class performance item. This includes short quizzes, recitation, assignment, homework, problem sets, seat work, experiments, and any other graded activities na we conduct sa imong klase. So, ano? So, kung saan na ko na siya pag-breakdown, sir? So, this is how you break it down based on the percentage, how you pag-grado nimo sa estudyante. The class performance items, these are all katong nga ganina kaning other performance class items kaning mga recitation, assignment, homework, problem set, seat work, experiments, and many other graded activities is 10%. Quizzes, all quizzes, prelim and pre-final exam is 40%. Major exam, midterm and finals is 30%. PIT, performance innovative task, is 20%. That is all in total of 100%. Okay? So, kabalik ko na, 10, 40, 30, 20. Wala ang atong kuan. So, dili ta pwede nga magbasta-basta maghatag og PIT because that is very big nga percentage. It is 20% of the total nga grades sa estudyante. So muna nga dili na siya pwede nga basta-bastahon nato atong PIT. It should be aligned to our course outcome. Okay? Now, nagkasar asa diha ang attendance? Graduhan ba si attendance? No? Asa diha si attendance? So dili siya apil ang grado sa attendance ha. Basig uban ba nga na anad pa sa una nga apil ang attendance o pasar ka kay daghan ka attendance, bagsak ka kay gamay ka attendance. So dili siya pwede, no? Ang attendance is not a performance of the student. Okay? Now, nganong so moingon ka sir. So dili na ako mag-check attendance, di man check performance. So sa iyang pulos. Ang pulos attendance is that is the basis on determining who are the students nga mahimong DF, drop with failure. Because in our policy naman yung drop with failure, and to determine the percentage nga estudyante nga ma-drop na nakita na dito sa policy on drop with failure. So sa absences, number of absences. So mag-check gid ka. Ingon ka nga mag-drop na ka kay pila na ka percent. So lagi na sa record, di ka basta-basta mag-ingon-ingon estudyante nga i-drop ta ka. Sa may basehan nimo sir? Basehan nimo to attendance. Munang mag-check kita attendance kay para maka-determine kay na ma-drop. Okay now. Na po'y memo gihatag ang BPEE. No? Labi na karon nga pandemic man ta ba? Although percentage allotment remains the same for each component, muna siya no? Kanang 10, 40, 30, 20, like for example class standing, faculty may modify the number of assessment activities per grading component. Okay? Kay sa una man god stricto kita nga quiz written kanang gid ang quizzes. So karon pwede to ma-modify. Nga whatever ang atong gihatag nga activity sa estudyante ingon kang kani sa activity is quizzes na siya. Kani siya class performance nang ni siya. So we can modify tungod aning flexible learning. Nanay memorandum gihatag ang BPA na Memo number 59 series of 2020. So pareha ra gyapon ang percentage 10, 40, 30, 20 but we can modify ang sulod sa class performance, unsay sulod sa quizzes, even ang major and term final exam nimo can be modified in a PIT, no? So basta lang bear in mind nga when we do our assessment naka-anchor gyapon na siya sa katong outcome nato. No, di pwede nga mag-modify ta pero wala dito naka-anchor sa outcome. So wala gyapon plus, no? Ana lang gid ang atong ano implementing na ang atong assessment activities for our student is always anchored. We are given the leeway to modify, but bear in mind nga dapat anchor kita sa outcome sa estudyante sa katong subject nga atong gitudloan or course, no? So, sir, what if kung naay laboratory? If naay lab, ang lab grade inani, no? Lab exercise is 30%, lab major exam is 40%, hands-on exercise is 30%. That is all 100%. No? So naman ko miingon uban nga di na lang ko mag-major exam. Kaya major exam naman ko sa kuan. Dapat nata exam sa laboratory. Okay? Kinaana sa iyang component sa laboratory. Lab major exam, lab exercise and reports, and hands-on experiences, exercises. So, manang dapat karoon natin na dito. No? So, now, sir, what if, inani sir, how do I grade it kung lahi ang unit, lahi man ang unit sa lab at saka laboratory? So, inani siya. The example, if you have a 1-unit laboratory, a lecture, 1-unit lab, that is 50-50. For the final grade, 50% lecture, 50% lab. Okay, 1-1 man siya. No, balance man. What if, sir, 2 units lecture, 1 unit lab? No? 2 units lecture, 1 unit lab. That is, no, ang imong lecture is 66%, manang 66% lecture, 34% laboratory. Okay? One third, okay? Two-thirds man din siya. Two-thirds, one-thirds. Okay? Then, muna yung pinaka-common, 3-1. Usually, mo gini kasagara, labi na sa engineering, sa technology. 3 units lecture, 1 unit lab. So if you have this case, 75% lecture and 25% laboratory. Ano ang atong pag-determine sa final grade sa estudyante. Although, these things are already embedded dito sa ato ang Excel. No? Ano lang sa Excel. So we did not need to compute everything. No? Kanang kon. Just input there what are the components and it will automatically compute. Ano po dito naka-segregate nga 50-50, one-third, two-third. Dili lang ka rin ato kung asa ang imong mo fit sa inyong agreement sa estudyante. Okay? So muna balik ko na to ganina no. If the coverage for all topics from the beginning for the final is all topics, that is one-third, two-third. One-third midterm, two-third finals. If the coverage for the finals is only on the topics on the final term, that is one-half, one-half. One-half midterm, one-half finals. So, balik ko na to. This should be agreed and discussed between the students and instructor. Dili pwede nga moingon at the end instructor nga one-third, two-third banta. No? Oh, masyak din ang estudyante ha, mo din na sir. O dili pwede ha. So dapat agreed siya pagsugod pa lang kabalo estudyante nga inana ang coverage. Inana ang atong way of okay? So muna siya, discuss na gamay attendance of students. Kay basig wabot ang panahon nga mag na to sa attendance ato lang labyan no. So enrolled student must show a proof. So when you mudawat tag estudyante no sa atong klase, an enrolled student must show a proof of the registration before being admitted to the class. So i-check din na siya nato as a instructor kung kaning estudyante admitted ba niya sa akong klase. Kaya nga no, there are experiences by the professor before nga sige tumatunga estudyante, wala man po siya check sa CUR. Sige tumatunga estudyante sa iyang klase. Pag abot sa ating grado na, mangayo na grado sa iyang estudyante, pag check niya sa iyang class record, wala labot ang estudyante dito sa iyang klase. So dili din sa iyang klase dapat mosulod ang estudyante. So that is now a problem dayon. No? Kay nganong pangayuan man ka. Usually kagkahitabo na kay naman kay mga estudyante pod nga mulikay sa katong maestro. So dito sa pikas, so ana ang ano. So kana when we go back to normal and even karon i-check palihog ang inyong class record kay pasig niya na estudyante nga nagsulod sa inyong klase nga wala sa inyong class list. Ano? So kana siya importante kaayo nga basig na sige sulod dito nga wala sa inyong class list. So dapat inyo to sa ingnon nga if nisulod ka sa akong klase tagaay na kog CURB, pa-check na nako kung tinuod bagyod nga naa ka sa ako naka-enroll kay kung wala ka dito ka sulod gid sa imong klase. Okay, that will become a problem later on. Kay ma-oblige na dayong kaghatag og grado sa iya kay nganong kuan. So ana na gubot na dayon din. Katong isa ka instructor wala pa sulod sa iya sa klase niya, iya dito butangan og drop with failure kay sige man ni absent. Pag normal na so madiip dayon. So muna na karon libog na dayon no. So muna ang department na dayon karon mag-troubleshoot na sad. So ana ang mahitabo. So i-check kita nato no. Then muna ni akong ano, a student sa tardiness na siya kanang sige ka late. So when we go back to normal, muna ni kakahitabo no. A student considered tardy when he or she arrives past 25% of the scheduled class limit. So 25% scheduled class limit. Now, 3 instance of tardiness equivalent to 1 absent. So katulo siya malate, isa na siya ka absent. In case where instructor professors are late for a class, students should not leave the classroom until the first third fraction of the scheduled class time has passed. So muna nga dili pwede nga mula kaso malate ang instructor mula ka or kalit ang estudyante. So dapat until nga 1/3 of the fraction of the scheduled class. No, meaning 30% sa imong kuan ay pa mulakaw, no? The professor arriving late within the time scheduled may mark student absent if they leave the class earlier than the prescribed time. So if tayo estudyante nga musibat dayon, pwede nga markahan nato og late. Okay? Article 3, excuses, no, naman kay time nga mo absent nga naman, no? So labi na karon na atay mga estudyante pud nga gakuan para sa amo, no, na ay mga estudyante nga ga-absent na maingon nga, sir, di pa ko kasubmit sa akong kuan kay money mo na. So excuses, una, illness, no? For illness, the student must submit a medical certificate issued by the university physician or any other physician, provided that in the later case, the medical certificate shall be authenticated by the physician. So dili pwede nga mobalik sa klase nga wala patay ma-excuse siya nga wala siya kuan, wala siya certified authenticated medical certificate by the university physician. Okay? Naman tay university physician diri sa USTP. So before na pag abot sa estudyante, mobalik siya, madala siya ani dapat, no? Dili pwede nga basta-basta ra pod nga medical certificate kay basig asa ra to gikan. So dapat it should be authenticated by the physician, by the university, no? Then number 2, natural calamities as such storm, floods, earthquake, fires. So makabalo man ta ani, no? Naka-estudyante nga nasunugan, nabahaan, muna common kay sa ato, no? So nabagyuhan, so kana siya, it's an excuse for is in our handbook. Now, participation in co-curricular or extracurricular activity. Na magintay later on, no, mabalik na ang normal na mag-appeal og sa man kanang mga events sa gawas, etc., no? So students who miss class from attending activities that are not approved by competent authority will be considered absent. So if walay approval kana iya activity, kana siya is absent. Now, incomplete grades should not be given to student who missed the class or class due to university sanctioned activities unless deemed necessary by the instructor concerned. So dili ta pwede mohatag og INC grade if nawala siya niya approve ang activity. Okay? So dapat before mo lakaw ang estudyante, mangaya ka siya nga unsa man imong atuan na makay approval ana na may official nga travel from the university. Example, maadto siya og so na anong sa to paasko sa mga event sa university nga paatuan ng estudyante. So kana siya. So may pag-approval, no? So with the dean concerned. So as early as possible, the student should seek prior approval from the dean or his duly authorized representative. So through channels when they participate in university sanctioned activities that would cause him or her miss a class or classes. So when the request is approved, the student or student should inform the instructor or professor. So may approval dapat nga dalon. Usually naman listahan kinsa ni mga estudyante ang nag-participate, no? So ana na siya. Okay? So ikaw po instructor, if that would happen, the instructors attempt to provide opportunities to equivalent work. No, so mag-provide ka dapat og equivalent work other, no, before or after the class absence in accordance with the department college requirements. So if naday ma-miss nga moadto siya ana, so dapat before or after, it's either before, no, before siya mulakaw, makatag na kadaan og something, or after makatag na pud ka. Kay para di siya ma-miss niya ang katong kuan, katong gidiskusan ninyo na time, or maybe basig nag-quiz ka adto nga time nga wala siya. So pwede siya earlier, pwede pud after siya, no? So for the purpose of implementing this policy, activities that will be qualified are the following. So mo siya, no? Tanan activity nga na-reflect sa calendar, academic calendar, co-curricular activities including the field trips and educational tour na mga field trip, no? Extracurricular activities, participation, mga quiz ball, debate, sports, mga intramurals, no? In the schools, system campus events requiring participation of the student, and other activities approved by competent authority. So there should be approval before magpalakaw sa estudyante. Muna ang giyong kanina, drop due to absences. Now, when do we give to drop? When do we drop the student, ang estudyante, DF? When do we give DF? If, katuno, pila ka percent? So, 3 consecutive unexcused absences. So, tulo ka, consecutive, sunod, meaning sunod nga absences, drop ang estudyante, DF dahil na siya. Or, no, more than 17% of the total number of contact hours in a semester. So, mo din na di ay kinamang good po wise ng mga estudyante. Naman sa policy sir nga 3 consecutive. So buhaton niya alak-alak ang buhaton. So dili na siya pwede pod. I-compute pa da nimo no nga dapat 17% sa imong total number of contact hours mo sobra o more than gali na siya ana ma-drop na ang estudyante. Okay? So manang DF dayon ang imong ihatag. Okay? Change of grade. Basi later on naatay mga cases nga mag-change of grade dayon ta. Okay? So maka-change ba og grade sir? Let's say pag-upload na ako sa Prism, na-lock na dayon to. Niya niabot din sa time nga nagreklamo ang estudyante nga nang nabagsak siya nga based sa iyang record pasar man di ay or niabot sa iyang kuan nga wala nimo nabantayan nga instead nga 10 ang score, 1 ang imong nabutan nakulangan og 0. So ana no? So pwede ba na siya maka-change sa grade, no? Based sa atong policy, okay, the faculty may request authority from dean or academic head through channels. No. Provided that there in no case shall grades be changed and or errors thereon rectified beyond 30 days after initial filing. No? So dapat di ay within 30 days pag upload nimo sa grado, pag-lock nimo, dapat ma-ratify to nimo siya. So based sa itong policy, no? So within 30 days ang change of grade. So muna nga before you click gyud nga post, iba balik-balik ka gitanaw ang imong grado. Kay after that within 30 days sa dapat maka-ratify sa maka-change sa atong grado. Now, di lang mo ka basta-basta maka-change of grado. Naanay mga list. No? Ang buhaton nimo ana, documents shall be submitted along with the letter of request explaining the reason of change of grade with this policy as basis. So, example, na error, nasayop lang nimo butang or ang grado ni Juan na mali nimo kang kuan Pablo dito nata-transfer. So, nasayop kay sunod bang gud ang apelyido sir, nalibat pag input ang instructor. So ano? So class record show grade competition na yan. So naka-attach din itong class record nimo nga mo ni ang iyang grado gyud. So dili pwede nga walay class record, no? So nanay form daan ang registrar imo ra tong fill-upan nito ang reason na i-check ito nimo. Then attach din kay class record. So mura ni siya. Exceptional cases. Kaso ka maka-change of grades, an error in computation, no? Maybe pag-compute wrong entry kapag ingano ganyan nga instead of 10 1 ang imong nabutan na kulang ang 0, no? Instead of 100 is perfect na to 10 ra ang nabutang, no? It can be, no? Omission of names or grade score. So or the basis of grade determination was not the same as approved or announced. So basic ang imo ang gigamit nga pag-compute wala ka nagamit atong Excel nasayop tinuon ka, no? Dili na mao ang pag-compute sa midterm at saka finals. So kana siya, those are the exceptional cases nga hindi ma-consider sa register nga maka-change ka og grades. Okay? Procedure muna siya of changing the grade. A student who has received a passing grade in a given course shall not be allowed to retake the examination for the purpose of improving it. Di ta pwede magpa-exam sa estudyante nga gusto niya mudako iyang grado pa sa mo nagutro. Okay? I-change din nato ang grado, no? However, she may request for a change of grade by submitting the dean's office a change of grade form signed by the faculty and department chair. Maybe kung nasayop yun, mag-request. Okay? Should a continuous situation arise, student may launch an appeal. So, at the Dean's Office, so shall form a review committee to compose of the following: the Dean, the Chairman. So if naagi kuan nga digid mo sugot ang instructor, magdebate gid nga sayop kini, so pwede mag-launch og appeal ang estudyante na maghimo dayon og kuan committee about that one. And the committee may conduct an investigation during which the faculty may required to present himself to the committee with a letter of explanation and documents the committee may deem pertinent. So munang i-check na dayon. Kay namagod kay pasigon niya og ingon na estudyante nga, sir, mo man niya akong ano niya, may man imong record. So kana mo na dayon nga maghiwa na dayon og committee para mag-investigate. So examination natay schedule ha. Dili pwede mag-exam nga walay pa schedule ng exam na ka or unsa ba ka ha kaning nagbuot-buot lang kag exam nga time nimo. Nya labo na karon kay nag-flexible ta, nag-schedule kag exam nya nag-klase dito. So natay mga schedule. Okay? There's a schedule for the midterm exam, the prelim, na semi, no, final exam. So it's clear na ana siya sa atong calendar. So dito pwede magbuot-buot lang og schedule. Nga maingon ba yung sentence, sir, nag-conflict man among kuan sir kay si instructor 1 nag-exam man sa imong time, so muna na karon. So maggubot na dayon. So natay schedule nga ginasunod. Okay? So request for early or late special examination. So we can give early or late examination. May be granted, no? The student may be given a late examination within. Karon na to makatagta within 1 week after the scheduled examination. Kana siya kung normal. Okay? Pero karon yung normal man ta, kaning atong pandemic karon mo nang maglinient lang ta sa kaning mga assessment nato. No? Now, in case nga ingon nasakit ang estudyante mo nang wala siya ka-take sa exam, mo nang mag-present siya og medical certificate or namatyan sila, maingon na ba na estudyante nga, sir, di ko ka-appeal kay namatyan mi. So, mag-present siya og death certificate to validated by the university physician. So, wala na diri no nga pati mo, sir, di ko ka-appeal sa exam kay kasal man gud sa akong ikagaw, sir. Pwede ba na? No? Di ko ka-appeal sa exam kay kasal sa akong ikagaw, sir, nya ako ang kuan didto. So wala na siya diri nakabutang no. Ang naa diri kay medical certificate lang o kanang death certificate. So birthday man gud sa akong kuan, sir, sa akong uncle manang wala ko ka-take sa exam. So, dili na siya reason, valid reason, no? So kana siya atong klarohon ha. Kay naami mga experience ana diri sa department nga ni appeal og kasal, birthday sa uncle, sa auntie, nang wala ka-take. So, but balikon na ako for this pandemic kaning sa atong mga examination assessment nato based sa memorandum, we should be lenient labi na ang iyang reason is internet connection o kana. But if ang rason pud niya nga ni appeal siya og kasal mo, di mo siya siguro possible, no? So, now, removal exam. No? Hapit na ra ba ang finals? Mo ni karon, maingon na ni estudyante nga, sir, pinabay removal ani, sir. So, when do we give removal exam? Ang removal exam kung ang grado sa estudyante when we compute it, midterm at saka finals, final grade na, falls from 3.25 to 3.5, the instructor concerned shall give a removal examination. Again, 70% passing within the week after the scheduled major examination, provided that the deadline for submission of the grade is still observed. Kaya naman tayo deadline po sa grade submission. So, kana dito pwede muhatag maingon nga wala ko'y removal, naana siya sa atong policy, no? Dito maingon nga wala removal bagsak kanan, no, dili pwede. I-check nimo whether ang estudyante is 3.25 to 3.5 iyang grado, then you give removal. But if sir, iyang grado kay 3.75, ayun na pagkatag removal atong estudyante. Dara ka sa 3.25 to 3.5 ra gyud. Katura sila mo ay naay kuan kaning way to kaning makapasar, no? May possibility. Now, Ang ilang removal exam sir, pilay passing 70% gihapon based sa atong policy. No? Mo man na siya. Di ka pwede nga ikaw gamay man ni imong grado, 3.5 man imo dapat 80% imong passing ha. Imo ha kuan man ka 3.25 70 ra imo. Dili pwede ana. No? Dapat same tanan. 70%. Ang removal exam is kuan man na siya kaning make it or break it. Kung baga kung baga pagpasar ka, automatically tres ang imong grado. Ana ra na siya. No? So dili na siya computon nga mingon uban nga ako mo buhaton sir kay pulihan ako to iyang final exam sa katong score niya sa removal dili pwede ha. So di siya pwede no. So once nga naa siya nato iyang final exam na kay removal wala na toy competition tanan. Pagpasar siya sa removal automatically tres. But 70% based on passing. Okay? So ana. Okay, so manino balik ko na ako based sa atong memorandum sa BPAA number 59 when it comes to assessment, examinations in this time of pandemic, we should employ alternative assessment activities, asynchronous. No? The assessment should be announced at least a week earlier. No? Dapat klaro nga ang atong assessment at least a week earlier announced. No? And conform synchronous assessment duration. So muna nga dapat tan-awon nimo na ang imong exam. No, ang duration with the number or difficulty of items tasks considered of possible glitches in the signal connectivity. So basig unyag nagpa-quiz ka nga kuan niya basig i-consider nimo nga what if mukalit sila og ka down ng ilang internet, no? So extension of submission deadlines, alternative assessment requirement must be considered especially for student with gadget connectivity. So mga deadlines nato dili lang kita ila naka-strict at this time. But if normal na tani balik ka ato ang kuan. Okay? And then conduct synchronous assessment, all synchronous according to the class schedule. Balik ko na kanina no, naatay schedule. So dili ko pwede mag-quiz sa lain nga schedule. Dili ko pwede mag-klase sa lain nga schedule. Dapat whatever the schedule that we have sa atong online karon nakabutang, dito lang ta focus kato lagi nga schedule. Then give the student at least a week to submit a synchronous assessment requirement. So ano lang, no? Term exam, based on the various circumstances, there should be alternative assessment activities for term exams. And TOS percentage, I think na-discuss from Amphi and TOS a while sa una. For this time of pandemic, may be adjusted to align with alternative assessment activities. Okay? And again, extension of submission deadlines or alternative term exam requirements should be imposed na considered. No? Extended lang ta. So I think kana lang. Thank you very much. Hope I give something that you might be able to use, especially karon nga nagagrado na ta, nagakuan na ta. So maybe you have questions later on and you will answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Rogen, for that po, hefty kayong information regarding our grading. And I hope that our instructors who are here with us right now, they are reminded of their responsibility as well, in terms of their grading and how they're going to handle their grades with their students, how to follow schedules, kapag mo gina-emphasize, okay? Nga mo follow gitang schedule kung dili ta gusto magkayagaw ang tanan, no, ingon ana gid ang show, no, mo na siya tong galikayan, no. So as of now, mangita tag mga naabay mga pangutana dinhin. Ay pangutana isa, no, Sir Rogen, applicable ba ang P nga grade sa graduate students? Yes, it is.
Yes. Palan man siya, Sir Arvin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it is applicable.
Applicable.
Okay, napabatay lain pangutana. I think na ay nagtaas og kamot si Miss Dessa Torrecampo. Ganina rayata na siya nag-raise og hand. Maybe we can ask to
Ayaw lagi na ipak.
Okay. So kuan di ay
Kan siya
it
ta.
could be na sayop lang na niya og tuplok. Okay, so I guess wala na ilain pangutana from our audience, from our participants. Wala na ko nakita ng mga other na questions. Yes, let me also emphasize that if particularly no, we have students that are scholars, so that's the reason why we need to also keep in mind to always submit our grades on time, especially if katog yung gapanginahanglan sa ato ang mga grades, no? Because they have to submit that so that they can continue their scholarship, no? So mo nang isasad sa mga things nga kailangan nato siya kailangan nato siya hinumduman. Okay, naay another question here. Do we need to make a separate TOS for lab examinations? Mm-hmm. Sir Rojin, maybe you can give enlightenment to this particular matter. Do we need to make a separate TOS for lab exams po?
Yeah. For lab exam, if we are doing the lab final exam or term exam, no, dapat natay table of specification gihapon. Kay lahi man to sa lecture. If natay gihimo ka exam sa lecture nga mo ni ang TOS, then lahi pud to. But nabo kay lab nga exam, dapat kay separate ka TOS for laboratory.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, sir. Okay, do we still have more questions? Okay, so let me just share my screen. Okay, these are, allow me to show you kung kinsa ang nagpasa no sa ato ang workshops. Because again, we will be having workshops, workshop for this afternoon. So these are the consolidated attendance and workshop outputs. Okay, so ito sa siyang ipadako gamay. Makita. Okay. Okay, if it's green for the attendance, that means to say that the person is present because we've noticed that some have registered but wala sila nagstay during the session. No? So we are actually checking your attendance during the session as well. No, dili pwedeng kanang nitunga lang sa una nga pila ka minutes and then nitunga lang din balik pagkahuman, no? Okay? So kani sila no, natay mga Okay, so mo ni sila. Ako lang sang ipakwan, no? Ako lang sang ihinahinig pa na og para basi makita ninyo yung name. And also, basin unya og naabitaw mo'y kanang wala na kuan, wala na send, no? Or na miss baka ninyo send. So mo nang importante kaayo nga paki-check na lang po. Kay basin og nag-error ang inyong pag-send sa email. Okay? So let me just go down. Okay. Paki-check na lang sa inyong mga names, no? Tungod sa atong kadaghan dili na nato may isa because there are 200 kapin na few. So mo na siya. Also, okay. Let me just remind you of the submission of workshop 4. So again, what you will be doing is you will be designing a PIT. So it should have course outcomes, directions to students, and then rubrics or rubric for rating the PIT. Again, send it to citl@ustp.edu.ph. Please do not, I know that some of us know each other. So naka-receive kong mga email kagabi. So pwede sa CITL lang ninyo isend because gina-checks siya sa among staff, no? So thank you so much. And also do not forget to CC your department chair for this. Okay. So that's a wrap. But of course, let us not forget to present the certificate of recognition to our speakers for days 4 and 5. specifically for designing assessments of learning and methods. So let me read the citation. University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning and Human Resource Management awards the Certificate of Recognition to Dr. Amparo Vidua Dinexao for her valuable contribution as resource speaker for the 5-day faculty onboarding and career upstart seminar, days 4 and 5, designing assessments of learning and methods on November 26 and 27, 2020, conducted by the Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning in collaboration with the Human Resource Management Unit of the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines via Zoom cloud meetings given this 27th day of November 2020 at the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, CM Recto Avenue, Lapasan, Cagayan de Oro City. Signed by Truly Yours, Arvin Narvaza, CiTL Program Head, New Faculty Program, Dr. Maria Cecilia L. Pangan, Director, Human Resource Management, CDO, Dr. Tito M. Mariquit, Director, Human Resource Management of USTP System, and Dr. Ambrosio B. Cultura II, the President of USTP. So this will be given to them with signatures already. The same citation goes to Engineer Rogen V. Morcilia. So let's give our speakers warm, loud, virtual applause. Okay. And also we'd like to hear from you. So please evaluate us through this link that you see. Okay. But we will also be sending this to to the chat box. So allow me to to send it muna to our chat box so that you can evaluate right away. Okay, there you go. So the link is already in the chat box. So kindly click on that link so you can evaluate our 5th day. So we can also improve our services for you. Okay. And and before we go, please do not forget to like us on our Facebook page. Okay. And visit our official website, CITL at ustp.edu.ph. There is a section there that is intended for the new faculty. So there are a lot of downloadable templates. Pwede ninyo ipang download ang mga katong format sa syllabus, format sa TOS, na dito. Okay? Sige. So now, let us end this session with a virtual pictorial. May I please request everybody to turn on their camera, okay, so that makita namo ang inyong mga kuan, inyong mga gwapa o gwapo nga mga nawong. And I will exit my screen, my share screen. Okay. Smile sa tano. Ganun tulo ang na-highlight ay sa kadali lang. Ipang kwan siguro eh. Remove lang na to, no? Okay. And all right. Ganun na-highlight na siya. Wala na, ma'am. Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations for completing the 5-day faculty onboarding and career upstart seminar.
Welcome to USTP.
Welcome to USTP. All right, that's a wrap. We're done. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you around. No?
See you around, guys.
Thank you for attending and for participating.
Salamat, Arnel.
Bye, everybody.